Chapter 324. Demon Ancestral Mountain, Phoenix City. Huang Yuli sat on the main seat of the imperial palace, with Xiang Tinji and his group of traders kneeling before her. Xiang Taijun was among them. What was puzzling was that the one who had tied up Xiang Tinji was Xiang Taijun. "You evil creature, you really want to kill me?" Xiang Tinji had a bitter expression on his face. "Father, I had no other choice. Young Master Sun Hao said that as long as we escape, the entire Divine Elephant clan will be destroyed. I have inquired. Sun Hao also has a shocking identity, which is the godly cunning immortal. He is not famous in the Demon Ancestor Mountain, but in the Tianluo continent, he is well known. He can calculate everything. If we run, the Divine Elephant clan will undoubtedly die," Xiang Taijun said. "Godly cunning immortal, I've never heard of him. I only know that you killed me," Xiang Tinji said. "Father, your sacrifice for the clan is worthy," Xiang Taijun said. Xiang Tinji was exasperated, his old face turning green with anger. It was really a sin to raise such a troublesome thing. "Xiang Tinji, do you have anything to say?" Huang Yuli's voice was ice-cold. Impudent! How dare you call out the demon sovereign's name? You're asking for a beating." An iron whip tore through the air and directly struck Xiang Tinji's face. This lash directly made Xiang Tinji's face swell up. "Demon Emperor, we are Tao companions in the end. A day of husband and wife means 100 days of kindness. You cannot treat me like this," Xiang Tinji said. Huang Yuli sneered. "Your marriage is nothing more than a transaction. When you wanted to seize the throne, did you ever think of this day?" Huang Yuli asked. "I was wrong, spare me." "Lord Demon King, it was Xiang Tinji who forced us to do it, it has nothing to do with us." "Demon Emperor, spare me, spare me." Begging for mercy sounded continuously. Every official had an expression as if their parents had died. Panic was written all over his face. "Apart from Xiang Taijun, the rest will be executed." "Yes, Demon King." A group of Jinjiawi rushed over like wolves and tigers. He dragged the officials whose strength had been sealed away. No, I don't want to die. Demon Emperor, I am loyal and devoted to the Demon Ancestor Mountain. Even if I don't have any meritorious service, I have worked hard. You can't deny me just because of one thing. Xiang Taijun, you son of a bitch. You will die a horrible death. I will haunt you even if I become a ghost." Cries of despair continued to be heard. Immediately after, "Gotcha!" The sound of heads being chopped off rang out. The entire palace fell into a dead silence. The face of the newly appointed minister was filled with awe, and at the same time, there was a trace of joy. "Xiang Taijun!" Huang Yuli shouted. "The sinner is here." Xiang Taijun prostrated on the ground. "You have done a meritorious deed by capturing the culprit. You may be spared from death, but you will not be spared from punishment. From today onwards, you will be demoted to an ordinary demon." "Let's go," Huang Yuli said. "Thank you, Demon Sovereign, for not killing me." Xiang Taijun knelt 3 times and kowtowed 9 times, then quickly retreated. After a long while, "Today, other than punishing the culprit, I have something important to announce." Huang Yuli looked at the newly appointed ministers and asked. When everyone heard this, their faces revealed an incomparably solemn expression. They had more or less heard some rumors. "Pass on Huang Ruming," this voice sounded. Huang Ruming walked into the main hall, bowed, and stood to the side. "Menger, come to me," Huang Yuli shouted. "Mother Empress." Huang Ruming walked in front of Huang Yuli, took out the demon seal, and presented it to her. "This is for you." "No." Huang Yuli smiled slightly and pushed the demon seal back. "Take it first." Speaking till here, Huang Yuli looked at the ministers and said, "From today onwards, I will pass on my position to Huang Ruming." When these words came out, Huang Ruming's expression changed greatly, and she waved her hands. Mother Empress, you can do it, Mother believes in you. Mother is old, and wants to enjoy her old age. From now on, Demon Ancestral Mountain will be handed over to you, Huang Yuli said. Hearing this, Huang Rumeng secretly sighed. Yes, Mother Empress. Huang Rumeng nodded firmly. Soon after, Huang Rumeng wore a phoenix robe and walked into the main hall. On her body there was a kind of natural empress aura. Greetings, Demon Sovereign. All the ministers, one after another, knelt on the ground, kowtowed and saluted. My dear ministers, rise. Between the gestures, she showed the royal demeanor. Sun Hao sat next to her, watching this scene quietly, his eyes flashing. Unexpectedly, Huang Rumeng had the demeanor of an empress. When he first met her, compared to now, it was 10,000 times different. Dear ministers, what's the matter? Huang Rumeng asked. Demon Sovereign, the Golden Crow clan was destroyed, and there are hundreds of things waiting to be done. The Divine Elephant clan and the Divine Turtle clan are slaves. The 3 royal clans' territories, the minister suggests that they belong to the Divine Phoenix clan. At the same time, send people to migrate over and take charge of everything. When Huang Yuli heard this, she nodded slightly, approved, dismissed. When all the ministers left, Huang Rumeng quickly ran to Sun Hao and lowered her head. Young master, how do I do as the Demon Sovereign? Great. Sun Hao gave a thumbs up and said. North of Phoenix City. There was a mountain range here called Divine Phoenix Mountain, which was the territory of the Divine Phoenix clan. In front of a loft, Sun Hao and Huang Rumeng held hands and leaned on each other, looking sweet. A figure flew over quickly. It was Huang Yuli. Greetings, young master. Sun Hao got up and looked at Huang Yuli with an embarrassed smile on his face. And Huang, you are an elder, you don't have to be so polite, you can call me Sun Hao in the future. No, young master, you saved my entire Demon Ancestor Mountain. This great kindness will be unforgettable. I came here today to hold a city-wide banquet for you to express my gratitude. Huang Yuli said. And Huang, no need. If you really want to thank me, a table is fine. However, this table will be done by us. Sun Hao said. Hearing this, Huang Yuli was stunned. Inviting the young master to a banquet, and let the young master do it himself? Wouldn't it become a banquet for the young master? How could this be? When Huang Yuli was about to refuse. Mother, listen to the young master's arrangement. A voice came into her ear. Hearing this, Huang Yuli nodded secretly. In that case, I will trouble the young master. Huang Yuli said. You're welcome, please invite this table of people. Sun Hao said. It's my duty. After retreating with Sun Hao, Huang Yuli quickly left. Just returned to the residence. Demon Emperor. At this time, a voice came from outside the door. Hearing this voice, Huang Yuli's eyes lit up. Old Manueli? When she opened the door, she saw 2 men standing in front of Huang Yuli. These 2 people were one of the 9 immortals of the human race, Old Manueli and the Earth Venerable. However, Old Manueli's appearance changed greatly, from white hair to black silk. Moreover, the beard had also disappeared. For a moment, Huang Yuli didn't recognize it. Old Manueli and the Earth Venerable also looked stunned. Looking at the Tao mark on Huang Yuli's eyebrows, their eyes bloomed with a strange light. Greetings, Demon Emperor. The 2 knelt down and kowtowed. Both of you, please get up. I have now abdicated, and the current Demon Emperor is Meng-Er. Huang Yuli said. What? Old Manueli and the Earth Venerable's faces changed greatly. The first princess is back. Yes. Huang Yuli roughly told the matter. After hearing it, the 2 nodded repeatedly and breathed a long sigh of relief. Then, the 2 told the story of meeting Sun Hao in Beiluo City. I didn't expect that the young master had already calculated everything and came to save the Demon Emperor in advance. I'm still a few steps late. On their faces, there was a look of shame. When Huang Yuli heard this, her face was full of surprise. You also know the young master? Huang Yuli asked. Yes. The two told the story of meeting Sun Hao in Beiluo City. Huang Yuli was also shocked. After a long time, she calmed down. Although the monster has been eliminated, the real threat to the demon Ancestor mountain is. Huang Yuli's face was full of worry. Aren't they suppressing it? Could it be? Old man Yuli said. Yes, it's almost impossible to suppress it. When I arrange things here, I will also go to help. Huang Yuli said. Then let's go together to help, more people, more strength. Old man Yuli said. Thank you, my demon Ancestor mountain owes you too much. Huang Yuli said. Don't say that, if it weren't for you, we would have died long ago. Hearing the words of the two, Huang Yuli's face was full of gratitude. Suddenly there was a shock. Taking out a communication jade slip and opening it, Huang Yuli's pupils shrank, and her face changed slightly. Chapter 325. Greetings, Demon Emperor. There were 3 people standing in front of Huang Yuli. These 3 people all had fox ears. They were Hu Laina, Hu Luadi, and Hu Luosian. Looking at the 3 of them, Huang Yuli's face changed again and again. She quickly stepped forward and hugged Hu Laina. Nana, I thought you, Yuli, it's great to see that you're okay. Hu Laina patted Huang Yuli's shoulder, tears brewing. It took a long time for the two to separate. There seemed to be thousands of words between each other. The fortune-teller recounted the situation that they had encountered. After the people present heard it, all of them sucked in a cold breath, and their faces were full of shock. Unexpectedly, young Master Sun Hao turned out to be the godly cunning immortal. Listen to Meng the godly cunning immortal is omnipotent. Yes, he casually recited scriptures and saved my clan. I'm afraid even the immortal emperor is far from being able to match that kind of means. So, young Master Sun Hao has reached that realm. It must be so. Speaking of this, several people sucked in a few breaths again. Nana, I was going to invite the young master to a banquet, but I didn't expect that the young master said that 1 table is enough, and he also wants to cook by himself. Just right, the few of us are just enough for 1 table. Huang Yuli said. What? Hu Laina's pupils shrank. Yuli, why are you still so unenlightened? Why does the young master mean something? Huang Yuli raised her eyebrows, and a sense of uneasiness was written all over her face. The young master is such a character, he cooks, are we just going to watch? Is this not embarrassing? Don't be stunned, let's hurry up and help the young master. Hu Laina said. Okay. Huang Yuli quickly stood up and looked at everyone. Please go and help together. Okay. Everyone got up and followed Huang Yuli quickly. Rumring, what's your mother's favorite dish? Sun Hao asked. For his future mother-in-law, he must make a few good dishes. Otherwise, if she is not satisfied and destroys it, wouldn't it make things difficult for Rumring? Huang Rumring frowned tightly, revealing a thoughtful expression. Then, she shook her head slightly. Young master, I really don't know, I have never eaten with my mother. At this point, Huang Rumring lowered her head and looked sad. I'm fine. Sun Hao gently held Huang Rumring and patted her little hand to show comfort. Don't worry, I will make a table of dishes that will satisfy your mother. Sun Hao raised the corner of his mouth with a confident face. Who could compare to his supreme cooking skills? As long as it entered his mouth, there was nothing he wouldn't be satisfied with. I can grow my own vegetables, but I'll have to catch some meat. I'm already a little sick of eating fish. Why don't I change my taste and catch some wild animals? It just so happened that he hadn't used his supreme hunting skill yet. He should take this opportunity to show off his skills. Rumring, shall we go hunting? Sun Hao asked. Hunting? All right, young master. Huang Rumring nodded. Rumring, then you recommend a place? Sun Hao said. All right. Huang Rumring nodded and took out a map of the demon ancestral mountain. She pointed to a forest and said, Young master, why don't we go to the sunset forest? It's full of savage beasts, so it should be easy to capture them. All right, I'll listen to you. The two walked onto the immortal boat, opened the space jump, and disappeared instantly. When they appeared again, they had already arrived at the Sunset Forest. After landing, Sun Hao walked into the dense forest and began to set up traps. Soon after, the arrangement was completed. Looking at his masterpiece, Sun Hao nodded with satisfaction. Rumeng, okay, now we just need to wait, Sun Hao said. Huang Rumeng looked at this ordinary trap with a solemn face. I don't know what the young master will catch this time. Ordinary savage beasts, the young master will definitely not like them. Huang Rumeng's face showed a look of expectation. Rumeng, let's go to the immortal boat to play a game of chess. I think when we finish we can catch prey, Sun Hao said. Okay, young master. What is chess? Chess is Tianluo continent, Zhongfu immortal city, in a tea house. This time, even if it's a mountain of knives and a sea of fire. 500 warriors, that is, 500 immortals, rush to the heavenly demon continent together. Break into the hinterland of the demon race with the momentum of crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. No one can resist the 500 immortals of our Tianluo continent. A group of people surrounded a storyteller and listened attentively. Everyone's eyes flashed with a strange light. The demon race saw that the general trend was over, so they fought to the death. All the priests, at the cost of sacrificing themselves, opened the gate of the abyss. Suddenly, the abyss monsters pounced on the 500 immortals like a torrent. It's simply endless, and they can't be killed. The storyteller said one sentence at a time, and everyone pricked up their ears and listened carefully. No one wanted to interrupt the storyteller. Looking at it, the rhinoceros monster is about to smash the 500 immortals on the spot. At this critical moment, Leader Chen broke through. He turned his body into a knife, and the knife chi rushed straight to the ninth sky. Even the sun was dimmed. One knife down, and the body of the rhinoceros monster exploded into dust. When the storyteller finished, everyone stood in place, motionless. Everyone's face was full of shock, and they couldn't calm down for a long time. Hiss, the sound of gasping came one after another. After a while, Leader Chen is really amazing. It's really powerful. He is worthy of being the favorite person around young Master Sun Hao. His strength is so terrifying. If it was young Master Sun Hao, how strong would he be? I'm afraid it's hard to imagine that the immortal emperor didn't have the power to struggle in front of him. The light of worship kept shining. Do you remember? Last time, our central prefecture immortal city was almost destroyed. Of course, tens of thousands of dragons all became our meal, the whole city eating dragons, such a feat, how can it be forgotten? After so long, I haven't seen any reaction from the dragon race. It seems that they are a group of reptiles. The delicious dragon meat, now that I think about it, I still want to eat dragon meat again. Yes, there are no dragons on Xiang Star anymore, and I can't find one even if I want to catch one. Everyone's face was full of hope. A pair of unsatisfied expressions strongly stimulated the nerves of a purple-haired man sitting in the corner. He was the purple lightning sent by Han Ming. Gotcha! His chest heaved violently and his joints exploded. His whole face was distorted, extremely ugly. Damn ants! Dare to humiliate my clan like this, outrageous! Calm down, calm down. Young Master said, don't get angry, report this matter to young Master first. It took a long time for Purple Lightning to calm down. You wait, you will pay for your arrogance. Purple Lightning muttered to himself and was about to send a message to Han Ming. At this time, a figure came. P.S. Group 9477828868, looking forward to your joining. Chapter 326. Brother, why does your face look so ugly? Are you okay? At this time, a strong man came forward and patted Purple Lightning's shoulder. I'm fine. Purple Lightning smiled slightly, and that smile was uglier than crying. "You're fine? Is there something bothering you? Tell me about it." Needless to say, it must be because I didn't eat dragon meat, and my heart is sad. A rough man came forward. "Brother, don't be sad. As long as we hunt another dragon, I will definitely give you a piece of meat." As soon as these words came out, the anger that he had suppressed quickly surged up. Purple Lightning's eyes were blood red, staring at the rough man. Killing intent was written all over his face. But see. The rough man did not notice and continued. "Brother, you don't know, the dragon meat we roasted last time was extremely delicious, chewy. With the fragrance of orchids, even without seasoning, it was the best in the world. If we knew that dragon meat was so delicious, why would we be afraid of the dragon clan? We should catch all the dragons, add some cumin, salt, and 5 spice powder to make barbecue." Every word was like a sharp knife digging fiercely into Purple Lightning's chest. The anger in his chest erupted at this moment. Boom! There was an explosion. The tables and chairs shattered. Purple Lightning grabbed the rough man's neck, and his eyes were about to crack. "Damn ants, dare to humiliate my clan, die." Purple Lightning let out a roar, and the electric light in his hand blasted on the rough man in an instant. Woo! The rough man's body trembled, and his mouth foamed as if he was having an epileptic fit. Such a scene directly shocked everyone in the tea house, and for a moment, they did not recover. After a moment, "Murder! The Dragon Clan is here to kill. Quickly send a message to the Evil Suppression Alliance. The Dragon Clan is here to find trouble." For a time there were constant exclamations. Everyone madly rushed out, and in the blink of an eye, only Purple Lightning was left. Jia, Purple Lightning smiled coldly, as if he was crazy. Zzz, a strand of purple electric light, lingering in his hand. In an instant, he rushed out. Boom! The entire tea house directly exploded into powder. "Ants all die for the old man. Insulting my clansmen is unforgivable." Purple Bolt raised his head to the sky and let out a long howl as his body rapidly grew larger. In an instant, it turned into a 1,000-meter-long purple dragon, floating above the central prefecture Immortal City, looking down at everyone. Sizzle, purple lightning bolts constantly flickered on its body, causing heart-palpitating sounds to ring out. Each strand seemed to possess the power to destroy everything. "Tremble, ants! Today, no one can save you," Purple Bolt roared loudly. Just as he was about to spit out his dragon breath, slash! The sound of flesh being pierced rang out. Purple Lightning scanned with his divine sense and discovered that a metal chain had pierced into his body. Before it could react, slash! The sound of flesh being pierced rang out. Hundreds of chains pierced through Purple Bolt's body. At this moment, to his horror, he discovered that these chains had pierced into his acupoint. His entire body seemed to be sealed, rendering him unable to move. This is impossible. What the hell happened? Raising his head, he saw thousands of figures flying over from all directions. Each of them clearly only had the aura of a half-immortal, but condensed together, they had the strength to tear apart immortals. Those chains seemed simple, but in fact they had the power to penetrate everything. "Captain Wu, I was worried that there was no dragon meat to eat. I didn't expect it to come to the door. The weapons made by this Master Mo are really useful, even the dragon of the heavenly immortal realm can easily pierce through. It is said that Master Mo obtained the inheritance of the godly cunning immortal, which is why he is so powerful. It seems that this is true." Everyone's faces were full of surprise. The man in the lead was Wu Han. Because of his outstanding performance when dealing with Demon Ancestor Ingo in the southern region, he had been transferred to the central prefecture Immortal City and became a captain of the hunting squad. "Captain Wu, please do it." Everyone came forward and said respectfully, "Okay." Wu Han was not polite and took out a long sword. This sword seemed ordinary, but in fact, its power was hidden. Of course, it was also made by M.O. Hausher. Seeing this long sword, Purplebolt's face was full of panic. Don't come over! Young master, save me! Purplebolt's shout had just sounded and stopped abruptly. The sword light flashed. Purplebolt's belly was cut open, and his internal organs were dug out clean. Then, the dragon head was cut off and fell to the ground. Whoosh, the sword light flashed, so bright that people couldn't open their eyes. A moment later, pieces of dragon meat floated in midair. There seemed to be no electric light swimming in the dragon meat. Very beautiful. Dragon meat, this is heavenly immortal realm dragon meat, I want to eat it. We have millions of people, one dragon meat is not enough at all. If there is an immortal dragon tens of thousands of meters long, it should be enough. Greed was written all over everyone's face. That kind of eagerness was not concealed at all. Wu Han slowly rose into the air, looked at everyone, and said, "One dragon is not enough for everyone to share, but anyone who cultivates the great Tao of lightning and thunder can receive it for free." As soon as these words came out, many people's eyes lit up, and their faces were full of joy. "You guys, send someone to distribute it. I will take a piece and send it to Chief Captain Mu." After speaking, Wu Han waved his right hand, picked up a piece of dragon meat, and quickly left. Outside the Central Prefecture Immortal City, Han Chi suddenly opened his eyes, and 2 rays of light burst out. Not good. Han Chi stood up, his face full of caution. "Young master, what happened?" the golden-skinned man asked. "Something happened to Purple Lightning, presumably already." Han Chi secretly shook his head. "What? It's against the sky. A group of ants actually dared to kill Brother Purple Lightning. This hatred must be avenged. Young master, give the order. I will immediately go and destroy them all," the golden-skinned man said with a face full of anger. "Yes, young master. If we keep tolerating like this, these ants will only get worse. Our clan rules the 3 realms, how can we let them bully us like this?" Hearing this, Han Chi secretly nodded. "Okay, in that case, then this Central Prefecture Immortal City must be destroyed. However, it's better to be careful. Golden Vulture, you are the strongest, release your divine will to explore. Is there any expert in the Central Prefecture Immortal City?" Golden Pig said. "Yes, young master." The golden-skinned man nodded, released his divine will, enveloping the entire Central Prefecture Immortal City. A moment later, the golden-skinned man withdrew his divine will. "How is it?" Han Chi asked. The golden-skinned man clenched his fists, his whole body trembling. Damn ants, they actually cut open Brother Purple Lightning and ate him as meat." As soon as these words came out, the surrounding air was stagnant. Even Han Chi's joints were exploding, and he was furious. Bullying the dragon too much. This kind of ant can't be left alive. "Everyone, come with me, immediately go slaughter the Central Prefecture Immortal City." Han Chi was full of anger. "Okay." Several figures flickered, flying quickly toward the Central Prefecture Immortal City. Chapter 327. Central Prefecture Immortal City. Haha! I got a piece of dragon meat, I'm so lucky! Thank you, Godly Cunning Immortal, thank you, Evil Suppression Alliance, thank you, Hunting Squad, you have worked hard. This first portion of dragon meat must be offered to the young master first. In front of a huge statue, many cultivators took out the dragon meat they had just received and presented it. Then, they prostrated in front of the statue with a pious look. This statue looked exactly like Sun Hao. In the sky. Han Ming looked at this scene, the corner of his mouth twitched slightly, and his expression was extremely ugly. The little reason in his heart at this moment burned clean. Damn ants, dividing the purple lightning melon into so many pieces. Unforgivable, unforgivable. Han Ming's face was angry, and his expression was distorted. Young master, let me do it, blow them into powder in one breath, the golden-skinned man said. No. I must avenge this hatred myself. I'm going to turn them into barbecue. After Han Ming finished speaking, he quickly descended. He stretched out his right hand and grabbed down. Boom! A loud noise shook heaven and earth. The entire city protection array directly burst apart. An icy cold air sprinkled down from Han Ming's body and fell into the central prefecture immortal city. The chill enveloped the 9 heavens and 10 earths and spread quickly in the central prefecture immortal city. At this moment, on the bodies of the cultivators, the chill poured into their bones from their skin. Their bodies trembled violently, uncontrollably. Plop! They couldn't bear this kind of pressure and knelt on the ground one after another. This is the pressure of the immortal king realm, my God! Another immortal king is coming? Who is he? Don't worry, the godly cunning immortal will come to save us. Such voices kept ringing. Although they couldn't resist the pressure, there was no fear on their faces. You ants, insulting my people, hateful and worthy of death. Today you must be buried with the purple lightning. Han Ming's voice echoed leisurely between heaven and earth, clearly reaching everyone's ears. Is that so? At this moment a sound rang out. Immediately afterward, layers of ripples shook in the sky, and a figure walked out of the ripples. On the cold face, the facial features were extremely exquisite, and there was no flaw to pick out. The body exuded a faint brilliance, untainted by the world, as beautiful as a fairy. It was Mu Bing. She stood in front of Han Chi like a king who controlled everything. Han Chi was slightly startled when he saw Mu Bing. "Aunt, a mere celestial immortal like you wants to deal with me?" Die. Space distorted as icicles rapidly condensed. Swish, the icicles emitted bursts of air-piercing sounds as they shot towards Mu Bing. Mu Bing stood in place, her expression unchanged. His eyes widened. The icicles surrounded Mu Bing and quickly encircled her. This is impossible. Han Chi's expression changed slightly, his face filled with astonishment. This is the Ice Dao. Mu Bing smiled and waved her right hand. The icicle turned around and flew towards the frost centipede. It didn't seem powerful, but its strength was monstrous. Han Ming's expression changed drastically. Without thinking, he frantically retreated. But how could he make it in time? Bang! There was a series of explosions. Frost Mantis was sent flying backward. He spat out a mouthful of blood. He stood where he was, his face full of fear. Damn it! How could a celestial immortal be this powerful? If that's the case, come on. Han Ming looked up to the sky and roared, his joints exploding. In the blink of an eye, it turned into a giant dragon with a body length of tens of thousands of meters. The huge body floated in the sky, covering the sky. The terrifying power made people's heads go numb. This so big, it's enough for all of us to eat a meal, right? There are definitely more. This immortal King Realm dragon is really big. I want to make dragon meat and dragon meat hot pot. It's still the best steamed, dipped in secret sauce, it's simply the best in the world. Such voices kept coming. Every sentence, although not big, but with incomparably terrifying lethality, it fiercely stabbed into the heart of the frost centipede. Damn it, damned ants, I'll kill you first. Han Ming sucked hard, opened his big mouth, aimed at the central prefecture immortal city, and was about to spit out a dragon breath. Boom! There was a loud noise. A punch hit Han Ming's stomach. The dragon breath he brewed was directly held back into his stomach and exploded inside. Boom! The dragon breath self-detonated. The power was shocking. Han Ming spat out a mouthful of blood, his mouth scarlet. Boom! Boom! Mu Bing didn't give Han Ming any chance to react at all. A heavy punch struck out, hitting Han Ming's stomach fiercely. Every punch could make heaven and earth tremble, and the waves of air were boundless. The terrifying power made everyone's scalp tingle. This physical body is too terrifying. How can a human have such a physical body? Above the sky, several figures stared blankly, and for a while, they didn't recover. Not good. The golden-skinned man secretly said that it was not good and quickly rushed over. Damn it, hurry up and let go of the young master, otherwise this old man will start a massacre. This voice, mixed with the pressure of the immortal venerable realm, surged throughout heaven and earth. The sun seemed to be afraid, so scared that it lost its color. At this moment, everyone in the central prefecture immortal city lay on the ground, shivering. Everyone seemed to be carrying a huge mountain on their backs, and it was difficult to struggle at all. Mu Bing was stuck in a quagmire, extremely difficult to move. The fist in her hand seemed to have hundreds of millions of caddies, and for a while it was difficult to control. He looked at the golden-skinned man in the sky, his face full of fear. An immortal venerable realm powerhouse actually came. This was troublesome. Cultivation is not easy. I advise you not to make a move, otherwise, today you will die and leave your life here. Mu Bing looked at the golden-skinned man and spoke to dissuade him. However, when these words reached the ears of the golden-skinned man, it became a harsh provocation. A celestial immortal told him that his life would end here? Ha ha. Ha ha, little girl, do you want to scare this old man? You are still a little inexperienced. Dare to talk to this old man like this, you are the first. I want to see how you are going to make this old man die and disappear. After saying that, the golden-skinned man took a step and walked towards Mu Bing step by step. Mu Bing saw the golden-skinned man's appearance and secretly shook her head. She had already persuaded those who should be persuaded. Since he was courting death himself, he couldn't blame others. The young master has calculated everything. How could the young master not know that you guys are here? Wait, get taken away by the young master, find a place to cry and die. She stood there with an indifferent expression, not struggling at all. That expression, as if everything was in control. When the golden-skinned man saw this scene, his face revealed caution. He carefully walked towards Mu Bing, not daring to be careless in the slightest. Golden Vulture, what are you still doing? Kill her for me! Han Chi let out a roar. Yes, young master. The golden-skinned man's eyes stared at Mu Bing. Kacha, the golden-skinned man roared in a low voice, the joints of his body exploding rapidly. His body was changing rapidly. His mouth was rapidly lengthening, sharpening, and hardening. Finally, it became an incomparably sharp bird beak. His hands turned into wings, covered with golden feathers. Golden bird feathers grew rapidly all over his body. Each bird feather emitted a metallic luster, looking like it could cut through everything. The wings spread, covering the sky. An incomparably huge golden vulture appeared above everyone's heads. Chapter 328. What kind of monster is this? After many people's divine senses swept to the sky, their faces changed drastically. This is the divine beast Songjiu. In the city, there was still no lack of knowledgeable people. This exclamation immediately made everyone's scalp numb. What? The divine beast is actually the lackey of the dragon race? What should we do? Isn't the divine beast too terrifying? What are you afraid of? There is the young master here. He will bless us, hurry up and pray. Supreme godly cunning immortal, you are the greatest god. Please save us, I am your most devout believer. The whole city was filled with the sound of prayer. When Songjiu heard these voices, his eyes were full of disdain. A group of ants really don't know themselves at all. Since the dark period, there are no gods in this world. All of you go to hell. Songjiu let out a roar. The giant claw exuded the aura of tearing everything, and it grabbed at Mu Bing. The terrifying power tore the sky and the earth. Mu Bing looked at this scene with a calm face. She didn't even blink her eyes. Really don't know themselves at all. Mu Bing shook her head slightly and looked at this scene calmly. Seeing that the giant claw was about to grab Mu Bing. At this time, the giant claw stopped 5 inches above Mu Bing's head, and could not fall any further. It seemed to be trapped by some huge force and could not go down. What's going on? On Songjio's face there was a look of panic. He tried his best and struggled frantically, but it was useless. Buzz, suddenly, the air buzzed and trembled. A big net, shrouded from all directions, tied Songjio into a dumpling in an instant. Songjio's expression changed dramatically, struggling frantically. Every time he struggled, it only made the big net wrap a little tighter. The later it was, the more difficult it was to move. As the big net shrank, its body was also shrinking rapidly. Swish, the big net pulled Songjio and flew rapidly into the void. No, don't, young master, help, staying in place, there was only this sentence. The pressure in the surroundings dissipated with a sound. Everyone looked up at the void, their faces full of worship. Did you see it just now? A huge net captured an immortal venerable level divine beast. Of course I saw it. Besides young master's son who else can have such means? Young master saved us again. Godly cunning immortal, your kindness will not be forgotten in 10,000 lifetimes. Mu Bing watched this scene with a calm expression. Not far from her, Han Chi was staring blankly at the void. For a moment, he didn't come back to his senses. An immortal venerable level divine beast was actually captured just like that? If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, who would have believed it? Who would dare to believe it? On Violet Sun Star, there was actually such an existence? What should he do now? Han Ming's face was full of fear. When he raised his head, he saw Mu Bing walking towards him step by step. What do you want to do? Han Chi's face was full of fear. The corner of Mu Bing's mouth rose. When Han Chi saw that smile, all the scales on his body stood up. If you want to slaughter the human race, you must be prepared to die. Mu Bing said. You want to kill me? A look of disbelief appeared on Han Chi's face. Not only that, I want to eat you. It just so happens that your body is big enough for everyone to share. Mu Bing said. Han Chi's body trembled, and for a moment, he couldn't find any words to reply. Humph, just by you? Han Chi roared. His whole body lit up with a dazzling blue light. The endless power of ice kept circling around his body. A dragon bead was slowly spat out by Han Chi. Kacha, heaven and earth seemed to be unable to stand this kind of power of ice and directly froze. As soon as the dragon bead appeared, the surrounding temperature plummeted like a cliff. Everyone felt as if they were naked in a freezing environment. The blood in their bodies was rapidly solidifying. Ants die. Han Chi let out a roar, called the dragon bead, and rushed straight to the central prefecture immortal city. Reckless. Mu Bing coldly snorted, and her mind moved. Chirp, the ice phoenix cried. A huge ice phoenix whistled up and stood quietly in the sky. The huge wings covered the sky and the sun. Hoo! The ice phoenix sucked hard, and the ice dragon bead trembled wildly. It seemed to be out of Han Chi's control. Seeing this scene, Han Chi's face changed drastically, gritted his teeth and roared, madly extracting the power in his body. However, swish, the dragon bead bounced lightly and flew out uncontrollably. In an instant, it entered the ice phoenix's mouth and was swallowed. No, a heart-wrenching howl resounded through the world. The corner of Han Chi's mouth twitched slightly, and his face was extremely ugly. The dragon bead was swallowed, and the source of power disappeared. Han Chi's realm dropped rapidly, and in an instant, it fell to the heavenly immortal realm. Less than 10% of his strength. He looked at Mu Bing, his eyes full of fear. At this moment, Mu Bing was closing her eyes, looking like she was cultivating. Good chance. Han Chi pointed at Mu Bing and roared loudly, kill her for me. This sound rose. Howl, a few dragon roars shook the sky. Several giant dragons hurriedly pounced towards Mu Bing. The terrifying power made everyone's scalp tingle. Elder Mu, run! Be careful! In the central prefecture immortal city, a group of immortal cultivators used all their strength and used various secret sound transmission techniques. It's just that there was no time. Boom, the loud noise continued. The space was distorted. The space where Mu Bing was burst open a little bit. Ha ha! Little ant fighting with me, you're still dead. Next, I'm going to bury all these ants together. Go, go, kill them all. Han Shi pointed down and roared loudly. That look, it was crazy. However, several giant dragons did not move, but looked behind Han Shi, their faces full of fear. Why are you looking at me? Go. Han Shi seemed to think that something was wrong, turned around, and his pupils shrank. At some point, Mu Bing was already standing behind him. In between her eyebrows, an ice phoenix seal had already condensed. Even if she just stood there, that kind of bone-chilling coldness rushed over. Han Shi couldn't help but shiver, and in his eyes there was a deep look of horror. She swallowed his dragon bead, absorbed it in such a short time, and became an immortal king. Why didn't the immortal king Tribulation fall? Why? Do you Thunder Tribulation giants dare to cover up like this? When I tell my father, I will definitely let my ancestors punish you. Do you have anything else to say? Mu Bing's figure flashed, and instantly stood in front of Han Shi, looking at him coldly. Hearing this, Han Shi looked startled. What do you want to do? Han Shi asked. Haha, have you forgotten what I said before? Mu Bing smiled coldly. You really dare to kill? Han Shi's face was full of disbelief. Haha, Mu Bing was unmoved, walking towards Han Shi step by step. Chapter 329. Stop, do you know who I am? I am the son of the Milky Way Dragon King, Frost Dragon. I am the current crown prince of the Milky Way. If you touch me, the entire purple sun star will be buried with you. Han Ho roared furiously, as if he had gone mad. However, Mu Bing remained unmoved. Her expression was cold. If I were you, I wouldn't tell you who I am. Didn't you see what happened just now? In front of such an existence, what use is the Galactic Dragon King? As soon as these words came out, like a knife of despair, it stabbed into Frost Centipede's heart. At this moment, his face was filled with despair. Just now, Golden Vulture made his move, and suddenly, a large net appeared. He had no idea how he had appeared. An immortal Venerate powerhouse couldn't even struggle in that huge net. Even after using all of his means, he was still unable to find any clues. He couldn't even tell what kind of great Tao he had used. It seemed that there were all kinds of great Taos, but there were also none. This kind of method was simply unheard of and unseen. Even if Father was here, he would not be a match for such a terrifying Almighty. Even if a sovereign came, he would probably die here. It's over, the dragon race is finished. If he had known earlier, he wouldn't have made a move. Why didn't he think about it a little more? Why can't you be a little more rational? No. I'm not the one who's wrong. The fault lies with the entire dragon race. The dragon clan had always been high and mighty, trampling on other races as they pleased. But who would have thought that the other races had already silently produced such a powerful expert? They didn't fear our race. His methods were unheard of. Living in such a group, it would be strange if he wasn't affected. Seeing their clansmen being divided and eaten, it would be strange if they didn't become enraged and lose all rationality. The dragon race was already in decline, so why were they still so high and mighty? Thinking of this, Han Xian's face was full of dejection. No, I can't give up. I have to save the entire dragon race. Han Chi muttered to himself. He looked at Mu Bing and roared, Go, go! Kill her! This sound rose. The giant dragons behind Han Chi exchanged glances and nodded in unison. Then, they turned into streaks of light and fled in different directions. Everyone was deserted. Han Chi stared blankly at this scene, full of disbelief. This, however, Mu Bing took a step forward. The entire world trembled. With her as the center, An endless chill spread out in all directions. Swish, 4 rays of cold light shot out in all directions. In an instant it enveloped the 4 giant dragons. The dragon was frozen in place, unable to move. Seeing this scene, Han Wu's eyes flashed. Good chance. Without any hesitation, Han Wu turned into a streak of light and fled in a certain direction. I must escape and report this news to father. Otherwise, our clan will be in danger. However, swish, the sound of something piercing through the air could be heard. A wisp of white light instantly blasted his body. At this moment, an extreme chill surged through his body. His entire body felt like it was about to be frozen and cracked. He cultivated the ice Tao, yet he was still so afraid of the cold. This was simply ridiculous. The next second, to his horror, he discovered that the blood in his body was rapidly coagulating. His body was quickly turning into ice, and his consciousness was fading away. We've exhausted all means to fight for power, but in the end it's all for naught. Father, I'll be leaving first. I hope you won't be reckless. Otherwise, our clan will be in danger. Frost muttered to himself. He slowly closed his eyes. The next second, boom, his entire dragon head froze and cracked, his soul overflowed, and he couldn't be more dead. As for the other dragons, there was no need to mention the consequences. Phew, Mu Bing waved her right hand. Blades of ice danced in the sky. The dragon scales on the dragon's body instantly shattered when they touched the ice blades. The ice blades cut through the body, directly peeling off the skin and bones, and digging out the internal organs. Soon after, few pieces of crystal-clear dragon meat covered the sky and the earth, sparkling under the sunlight. It looked like pieces of art floating in the sky, extremely beautiful. Mu Bing stood in midair, looking down at the eager cultivators below, and said, "Everyone has a piece of dragon meat, don't be greedy." "Yes, Elder Mu." "No problem. Don't worry." Everyone patted their chests and guaranteed. Mu Bing waved her right hand. Phew. Millions of pieces of dragon meat flew down quickly and landed in front of everyone. They stared blankly at the dragon meat in front of them, their eyes bursting with light. "Such a big piece is enough for me to eat for 2 days. Yeah, I'm going to eat steamed dragon meat today, and braised dragon meat tomorrow. Such a large portion of dragon meat used to make hot pot, that taste, tsk. Yeah, it's such a cold day, it's going to snow soon, eating hot pot and chatting, this day is really comfortable. A few more rounds of Fight the Landlord, that's a great thing in life. Yes. Since having young Master Sun Hao, I don't need to cultivate much, and my strength has risen. Moreover, I can also play Fight the Landlord, my life is too comfortable." In the whole city there was a loud noise and for a while it couldn't stop at all. Mu Bing looked at this scene without changing her expression. "Wu Han!" Mu Bing shouted. Swish! Wu Han flew up quickly and saluted with cupped fists. "Chief Captain, what can I do for you? You guys reacted very quickly today, and you did a good job. These dragon meat are to be distributed to the brothers, go," Mu Bing said. "Thank you, Chief Captain." Wu Han's face flashed with a strange light. "Chief Captain, I'll leave first." Looking at Wu Han's back, Mu Bing frowned slightly. "Are you suppressing your realm?" Wu Han was stunned at first, then nodded slightly. "Yes, Chief Captain. When you finish distributing the dragon meat, I will take you to a place to ensure that you break through to the immortal realm," Mu Bing said. As soon as these words came out, Wu Han's pupils shrank, and her face changed drastically. Then she knelt down. "Thank you, Chief Captain." "No need, it's not me who should thank you, but the young master." Mu Bing looked in the direction of the great demon mountain and muttered to herself, "Young master, I wonder when you will return. We all miss you very much," Mu Bing secretly said. Withdrawing her mood, Mu Bing looked at Wu Han and said, "You go and do your work." "Yes, Chief Captain." Wu Han took the dragon meat and left quickly. Mu Bing stood in the sky and glanced around. The entire Zhongfu immortal city. Everyone returned home and used their skills to cook the dragon meat. During the stewing process, the three sat around and started playing Fight the Landlord. 4 twos and 2 kings, there is only 1 card left, you have to be careful. Are you sure? Yes. 4 threes blow you up. The entire Zhongfu immortal city was in an extremely peaceful atmosphere. Compared with the previous use of force, the gap was huge. Mu Bing looked at this scene and nodded secretly. The entire Tianluo continent has quietly changed. Young master, your methods are really unimaginable. Chapter 330. Demonic Ancestral Mountain, Sunset Forest. In a hunting trap, Sangjiu was lying motionless inside. Its eyes were filled with regret and despair. Sigh, if I had known, I would have been more cautious. What should we do? Someone save me! Sangjiu shouted loudly, but no one responded even after he exhausted all his strength. Rumming, look, I caught a big golden bird. At this moment, a voice sounded. Sangjiu was taken aback when he raised his head to look. A mortal? A heavenly immortal and a savage beast. Did the 3 of them fish me out? How is this possible? Not even immortal emperors would be able to do that. Sangjiu muttered to himself, his eyes filled with disbelief. What a big bird! Young master, you are so powerful! Another voice sounded. Sangjiu was furious when he heard that. Bird, you're a big bird. I'm a dignified divine beast. How dare you call me a big bird? If you have the guts, let me out and see if I don't tear you to pieces. Sangjiu roared madly and kept struggling. In Sun Hao's view, it was just a bird struggling. Sun Hao walked straight to the vulture. What? A mere mortal dares to walk in front of me? I'll peck you to death. Come, have a taste of this seat's move. Sangjiu muttered to himself and began to accumulate power, waiting for an opportunity to attack. Closer and closer. Just when Sun Hao stretched out his right hand and pressed it down on the vulture. Swish, seizing the opportunity, Sangjiu drew on his strength and pecked at Zhang Xian. Ding, the sound of metal clashing rang out. This peck was like hitting a divine artifact. Intense pain came from the bird's beak, as if it was about to fall off. The extreme pain spread from his mouth to his entire body. It was so painful that all the hair on its body stood up and its body trembled. How is this possible? Sangjiu murmured, his eyes filled with disbelief. It knew very well how powerful its attack was. Even if it were to peck a mountain to pieces, it wouldn't be a problem. Who would have thought that the one injured by pecking on a mortal's hand was actually his own? What had happened to this world? Is this still the world I used to live in? Sangjiu murmured and stood rooted to the ground. Yo, you're a little fierce. Before the goshawk could react, a large hand grabbed its wings. The huge hand contained a power that could seal everything. Sangjiu was horrified to discover that even his strength had disappeared at this moment. He could not muster any strength at all. This is impossible. Sangjiu's pupils constricted and his expression changed drastically. He wanted to extend his claws, but it was impossible. It was as if he had lost control of his body and was not listening to his command. Even moving his eyeballs was extremely difficult. What kind of existence is he? This is too terrifying. Spare me, Sangjiu murmured, struggling and begging for mercy. However, his voice, when heard in Sun Hao's ears, was like a bird singing. Huang Rumming simply ignored it. No matter how it called, she simply ignored it. Finally, it fixed its gaze on Blood Wolf. Lord Wolf, please save my life. The Blood Wolf raised his head high and ignored him. Wolf Ancestor, as long as you save me, save my life. I'm willing to give you all the treasures in my life. Sangjiu said. Give it to me. Blood Wolf said faintly. Wolf Ancestor, the treasure is not on me now. When I go back, I will definitely give it to you, never lie. Sangjiu said. Hee, do you think this seed is easy to deceive? After saying that, Blood Wolf stepped on arrogant steps and followed Sun Hao, full of arrogance. Even if Song Jiu's saliva was dry, he no longer paid attention to it. It's over. Song Jiu drooped his head, his face was ashen, and he was regretful. If I knew it, I should have listened to that woman. If I didn't make a move, I wouldn't have ended up like this. If I knew it, I shouldn't have joined the dragon race and become their lackey. I regret it so much, Song Jiu murmured, and the regret on his face became stronger. Such a big one, weighing 20 jin, should be enough for us to eat. Rumming, let's go back. Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. Huang Rumming nodded and followed Sun Hao onto the immortal boat. Woo! The blood wolf followed closely behind, wagging its tail non-stop like a little bootlicker. Buzz, the immortal boat shook up layers of air waves. With a flash of light, it disappeared into the sky instantly. When it appeared again, it had already arrived at the top of Divine Phoenix Mountain, above a pavilion. On the ground, Huang Yuli and the others stood there, waiting quietly. After seeing Sun Hao land, her eyes swept up. When she was about to step forward, Huang Yuli raised her eyebrows. Her eyes stared at Sun Hao's hand, motionless. The expression on her face kept changing. That is, Huang Yuli muttered to herself, and she didn't spit out a word for a long time. Next to her, Hu Laina was even worse than her. That kind of shocked look was indescribable in words. Yuli, if I'm not mistaken, what the young master is holding in his hand is the ancient divine beast, Song Jiu, Hu Laina said. As soon as these words came out, the air around them was stagnant, and everyone's eyes were full of shock. Hiss, the sound of inhaling cold air kept ringing. Took a long time for everyone to calm down. Catching an ancient divine beast with bare hands, in today's world, except for the young master, there is no one else. The young master caught an ancient divine beast. What is this for? Could it be that it's for eating? Together with this idea, everyone took a breath again, and they couldn't calm down for a long time. Impossible. It's already a great fortune to meet an ancient divine beast. How can he be willing to eat it? Huang Yuli said. Yes. The young master is going to raise it for future use. Hu Laina nodded. Hearing this, Hu Luati and others also nodded slightly, revealing a look of sudden realization. Sun Hao walked to the front of everyone with Huang Rumming, and he couldn't help but look startled. Most of the 6 people in front of him knew. Only the 2 women beside Hu Luoxian, he didn't know. Are they also from the Heavenly Fox clan? Greetings, young master. Seeing Sun Hao, everyone bowed and saluted together. Sun Hao helped Huang Yuli up, and Huang, you need to salute. Also, everyone doesn't have to be polite, please get up quickly. May I ask who these 2 are? Sun Hao looked at Hu Luati and asked. Young master, my name is Hu Luati, Hu Luoxian's sister. Hu Luati stepped forward and introduced himself. On her body there was a faint glow. Her eyes were like silk, and her curvaceous body carried a fatal temptation, making people unconsciously trapped in it. Sun Hao quickly withdrew his gaze and didn't dare to look more. Hello. Sun Hao nodded. Young master. Hu Luati pulled Hu Laina forward and introduced. This is my mother, her name is Hu Laina. Hello. Sun Hao nodded slightly. Young master, thank you for saving my life. Hu Laina walked in front of Sun Hao and bowed deeply. With this sound, the surrounding air was stagnant. Chapter 331. Life-saving grace? Sun Hao was full of doubts. When did he save her? Looking at the look on Sun Hao's face, everyone's faces changed slightly. Not good, it's about to break the young master's Dao heart. Hu Luoxian thought it was not good and hurriedly stood up. Young master, my mother is thanking you for saving my life. Oh, Sun Hao nodded, revealing a look of realization. It's a small matter, don't mention it. Since everyone is here, let's have a meal together. Look, this is a big bird I just caught. It can be used as a wine dish. As soon as these words came out, boom! It was like the ninth heaven's divine thunder fell in everyone's mind. It shook their heads, and they didn't come back to their senses for a while. That kind of shock and surprise was indescribable. What? Was this mythological beast really meant to be eaten? Wasn't the young master used to feed it? Oh my God! The young master wanted to eat the divine beast as a dish? All of this was simply unseen and unheard of. In the ancient times, which one of them didn't treat the divine beast like an ancestor when they met it? In the young master's place, the divine beast was just a dish. Several people couldn't help but take a few breaths, and it took a long time to calm down. In Sun Hao's hands, Song Jiu was also stunned in place, full of disbelief. Originally, he thought that he just caught it as a pet. Now it seemed that he was completely wrong. This mortal, oh no! This mighty figure actually wanted to eat him. Why was his life so bitter? Help! Song Jiu swept his eyes on Huang Yuli and sent a divine sense voice transmission. Divine Phoenix Ancestor, I beg you to save my life. I will repay you even if I work like a cow or a horse. These two voices awakened Huang Yuli. She glanced at Song Jiu, then looked at Sun Hao and shook her head secretly. Song Jiu, the young master is good. He takes saving the world as his duty and never kills at will. You were captured by the young master. You must have done something that angers the heavens and the people. Otherwise, why would the young master capture you? Huang Yuli's cold voice came into Song Jiu's ears. Song Jiu's body trembled, and his face was full of bitterness. It's all because I was blind and followed the dragon race. I have done a lot of evil things. I was wrong, I was really wrong. I beg you, please save my life. As long as I can survive, I'm willing to be your slave and pet. Song Jiu said. Come on. In the hands of the young master, do you think I can save you? After Huang Yuli finished speaking, she no longer spoke. Song Jiu could only stare at another person. However, it had exhausted its means and no one was willing to help it. Rumring, assist me. Suddenly, a sound rang out. Squinting his eyes, he saw that Sun Hao already had a kitchen knife in his hand. He looked very ordinary, very ordinary. Song Jiu was certain that if the saber touched his neck, he would definitely die. No, a roar of unwillingness rang out. Yes, young master. Huang Rumming stepped forward and grabbed Song Jiu's claws. Damn it! This heaven immortal's fleshly body is actually so terrifying. It's over, it's over. Song Jiu struggled crazily, but it was useless. Don't struggle. It'll be quick. Just a moment and you'll be done. Sun Hao pulled out the hair on the vulture's neck, pinched the skin with his left hand, and squeezed out the throat. Hua! The kitchen knife slashed and blood splashed. Song Jiu's consciousness instantly collapsed. He didn't feel any pain at all. Everyone stared blankly at this scene and didn't react for a long time. Slaughtering a divine beast was like slaughtering a chicken. This was terrible. Young master, how strong are you? The 6 people looked at Sun Hao, and their eyes were full of worship. Their eyes were fixed on Sun Hao. Boiling water, scalding hair, cutting open the belly. Today, I'm going to make a honey roast chicken for everyone. Sun Hao looked at everyone's dumbfounded expression and smiled slightly. With a move of his mind, he took out the cornflour, garlic cloves, and some secret seasonings. Hey, there's no ginger. I can only plant a little. By the way, I'll plant some side dishes. Sun Hao's voice woke them up. Young master wants ginger? There are a lot of these things in Divine Phoenix Mountain. I'll ask someone to get them. Huang Yuli thought secretly and was ready to act. Mother, you don't have to go. A voice transmission of divine sense came to her ear. Huang Yuli immediately stopped and looked puzzled. Could it be that the young master reaped what he sowed? Was it too late? With doubts, Huang Yuli looked at Sun Hao, her eyes motionless. She saw that Sun Hao took out a hoe, dug the ground, and sowed all kinds of seeds. After that, he set up the ancient zither and sat in front. Seeing this scene, Huang Yuli's eyes shone. The young master was going to play the zither. Huang Yuli's eyes were full of expectation. Jing, the sound of the zither sounded. But it had no effect. Huang Yuli's face showed a touch of embarrassment. Young master, this is? On the doubtful face, suddenly a strange light bloomed. The seeds have sprouted? Looking at the seedlings that were growing quickly, for a moment, Huang Yuli was stunned in place. After a while, it has grown into a spirit medicine? The song played by the young master can actually make a spirit medicine? Middle grade spirit medicine. What, it has become an immortal medicine, and it is still growing? The more she looked, the more the expression on Huang Yuli's face changed. In the end, she stayed in place and did not move for a long time. This is the immortal medicine. The ginger that the young master needs is actually the supreme immortal ginger. I actually want to get ordinary ginger? Fortunately, I didn't go, otherwise I would have lost face. Huang Yuli secretly thought, revealing a touch of embarrassment. Beside her, Hulaina looked at this scene, and she was even more stunned. Suddenly, a piercing pain came from her thigh. Looking down, she saw that Huang Yuli was pinching herself. Ouch! Yuli, why are you pinching me? Hulaina asked. Nana, you actually feel pain, it seems that we are not dreaming. Huang Yuli said. Yeah, it's incredible. Today is really an eye-opener. This, such a large piece of immortal medicine, if this gets out, will our demon ancestor mountain experience a great calamity? Hulaina said. Hearing this, Huang Yuli's eyebrows raised, and her face changed slightly. Indeed, if the news of these thousands of immortal medicine leaked out, it would definitely cause the immortal emperor to covet it. At that time, it would be big trouble. The two nodded to each other and secretly set up a layer of enchantment to block all prying. Look at Rumming, her face did not change at all. I think she is already used to it. Really, do they eat one a day? It must be like this. Huang Yuli and Hulaina kept transmitting their voices, and each voice revealed shock. Okay. Sun Hao stood up. Rumming, please help me wash a few pieces of ginger. Yes, young master. Huang Rumming quickly walked forward and began to pull the ginger. Wash, chop, pour it into a basin, blend it with a secret seasoning, and begin to marinate. It should taste after half an hour of marinating. Please help me pick it together, it will be faster this way. Sun Hao's voice awakened several people. Young master, how many do you need to pick? Of course, all of them. As soon as these words came out, everyone's heart felt like it was hit by a storm. For a while, they couldn't calm down at all. Is it possible to eat it as a dish? It seems so. My God. Chapter 332. Pulling out a small cabbage, Huang Yuli held it in her hand and examined it for a while. She stared blankly, feeling like she was in a dream. Mother, please hurry up. Young master is almost done roasting. Huang Ruming's voice woke them up. Everyone looked at each other and smiled sheepishly. Meng do you usually eat one of these? Huang Yuli used her divine sense to send a sound transmission. One? How could it be enough? You eat hundreds of them every day, Huang Rumming said. As soon as these words came out, boom! Huang Yuli felt as if she had suffered a heavy blow, her heart pounding violently. Eat a few hundred every day? Oh my God! Mother, don't make a fuss. In the eyes of the young master, these are just small dishes. If he wants to plant them, then plant them, Huang Rumming said. Mother knows, but Mother can't help but be excited. Huang Yuli let out a few long breaths and was unable to calm down for a long time. Hurry up, let's wash the vegetables together. All right. Not long after, everyone washed the vegetables and carried them to the table. Looking at Sun Hao, he could not help but look startled, and his eyes bloomed with a strange light. They saw Sun Hao set up the stove and was roasting the vulture. The golden skin attracted everyone's attention. As the meat was being roasted over the charcoal, oil splashed everywhere. The fragrance of roasted meat wafted into the nostrils, making people salivate. His taste buds, which had been sealed for countless years, became active at this moment. Just looking at it and smelling it was enough to make everyone drool. Seeing everyone's appearance, Sun Hao smiled slightly. "Don't worry, I'll be done soon." Sun Hao took a brush, dipped it in the nectar given by the flower fairy, and smeared it evenly on the vulture. As it spun, the crowd was surprised to find that not a single drop of the nectar fell onto the charcoal fire. As time passed, the golden body of the goshawk, which was wrapped in the nectar, emitted a sparkling luster. The aroma of the meat wafted into their nostrils. Gulp! Everyone swallowed their saliva from time to time, their eyes filled with anticipation. "All right, the roast chicken is ready." Sun Hao put the vulture in a large plate, then tore the meat and put it on the plate. He poured in the secret sauce, coated it evenly, and stirred for a while. Not long after, stir-fried cabbage, vinegar, shredded potatoes, a full table was placed in front of everyone. When Sun Hao sat down, everyone sat down in turn. "Don't just stand there, it's getting cold, hurry up and eat." Under Sun Hao's lead, Huang Yuli picked up a piece of vulture meat with an excited expression. The perfect combination of immortal medicine and divine beast meat? Huang Yuli stared at the piece of meat on her chopsticks in a daze. The vulture's meat was golden on the outside, making people salivate non-stop. When he bit into it, he felt that it was fragrant and crispy. The meat was firm and springy, salty with sweetness, sweet with sourness, sour with spicy. All kinds of complicated feelings came from his tongue. Every taste was just right, not a bit more, not a bit less. It was indescribably delicious. When he swallowed it, a surge of celestial energy turned into a warm current that spread throughout his body. He was immersed in an indescribable sense of comfort. Huang Yuli closed her eyes and quietly sensed it. After absorbing the immortal energy, she picked up a piece of radish with her chopstick. The other side, Hulaina picked up a piece of vulture meat excitedly. "Divine beast meat is actually only the young master's food. I, Hulaina, can't believe there will be a day when I, Hulaina, eat divine beast meat and immortal divine medicine like vegetables. Even the terrifying existence behind the Dragon Clan, I'm afraid it's far from comparable, right?" Hulaina muttered to herself. The vulture meat accidentally slipped from her chopsticks, and it took a lot of time to pick it up again. After chewing, her mouth was full of fragrance. "It's so delicious." Hulaina's eyes bloomed with a strange light, and she had a look of enjoyment. Buzz. Suddenly, there was a shock. In the middle of his eyebrows, a mark that seemed to be there condensed and formed. "I'm going to condense a Dao seal? Eating a piece of meat, and I'm about to become an immortal king? Oh my God!" Hulaina was completely stunned in place. She looked at Sun Hao with a look of worship, gratitude, and mystery constantly intertwined on her face. For a long time, she calmed down and continued to eat. Next to her, Huluadi's eyes widened and he was shocked. "I actually reached the peak of the heavenly immortal realm? Just a bite of meat and I'm so strong. Young master, what kind of existence are you? The dishes you cook actually have such an effect?" Huluadi looked excited, and for a while it was difficult to calm down. Everyone was shocked, looking at Sun Hao's eyes, full of worship and gratitude. The look on everyone's faces was clearly captured by Sun Hao. The corners of Sun Hao's mouth raised slightly, showing a trace of arrogance on his face. His eyes swept over Huang Yuli from time to time, and he nodded secretly. It seemed that Aunt Huang was very satisfied. That was enough. After the meal, everyone touched their round bellies with a satisfied look. Sun Hao looked at the crowd and opened the blessing point panel. "Just in time, let's collect a wave of blessing points," Sun Hao thought secretly, sweeping his eyes on Huang Rumring. "Rumring, why don't we play a song for everyone?" Sun Hao said. "Okay, young master." Huang Rumring nodded. Hearing Sun Hao's words, Huang Yuli was shocked, and her eyes were full of excitement. The young master said he wanted to play for everyone this time. It must have that effect, right? Not long ago, in Jinwu City, she had heard the young master play a song. She was very clear about the effect. With just one song, her injuries were all healed and she became an immortal king. Now, just after eating a meal, she broke through to the 5th grade immortal king. If this were to be spread, it would probably scare a group of old monsters to death. Even if it was the Thunder Tribulation ruler, if he knew about the young master's means, he would probably have to kneel in front of the young master. How can my Meng-er be worthy of such an existence like the young master? Is the young master really a god? Thinking of this, Huang Yuli's body trembled. For 1,000,000 years she had never heard of a god. Even the terrifying existence behind the dragon race seemed to be just a supreme, immortal emperor. If the young master is not a god, I'm afraid the immortal emperor can't do this kind of terrifying means. The young master must be a god. Huang Yuli thought secretly, looking at Huang Rumeng. But she saw the two of them looking at each other and making eyes at each other. At this time, an idea formed in Huang Yuli's heart. Since the young master is interested in Meng-er, then I will create a chance for them. Huang Yuli thought secretly, looking at the top of the divine Phoenix Mountain. There was an immortal spring. If the two of them went there together, surely something pleasant would happen. Thinking of this, Huang Yuli nodded secretly. Zheng, at this moment, the sound of the zither sounded. Huang Yuli's inner thoughts were instantly shaken away. A burst of incomparably rich 5-colored light quickly wrapped Huang Yuli. At this moment, she closed her eyes and began to absorb these 5-colored light. Zheng, as the sound of the zither sounded. Boundless multicolored light enveloped everyone in the area. Everyone closed their eyes and quietly absorbed the energy. In between their eyebrows, the seal was quickly condensing. Zheng, the sound of the zither became more and more rapid, and the 5-colored light became more and more intense. These 5-colored lights, like flowing clouds, slowly rushed out. They wrapped the entire divine Phoenix Mountain. Chapter 333. On Divine Phoenix Mountain, there were hundreds of thousands of divine Phoenix clansmen. The endless colorful immortal light, like clouds and mist, enveloped the entire divine Phoenix Mountain. At this moment, everyone was wrapped in colorful immortal light. They unconsciously sat cross-legged on the ground and began to absorb the colorful immortal light. Kacha, the sound of the realm breakthrough sounded like firecrackers, continuous. The extra colorful immortal light poured directly into the ground, transforming the grass and trees. There was an immortal spring on the top of Divine Phoenix Mountain. Under the colorful immortal light, the immortal spring changed rapidly. The transparent immortal spring, under the colorful immortal light, gradually turned into colorful spring water, rippling layers of dense light, extremely beautiful. The entire Divine Phoenix Mountain was quietly changing under the infiltration of the Guqin sound. Sun Hao continued to pluck the strings, and the whole person seemed to forget everything. Huang Rumeng's cooperation with him was simply flawless. Ding, blessing point +3. Ding, blessing point +3. The prompt sound kept ringing. Sun Hao didn't hear it and just played the Guqin. When the Guqin sound stopped, Sun Hao opened his eyes. Looking at the colorful immortal light around him that was as thick as water mist, he couldn't help but be shocked. So much colorful immortal power? My playing is too scary, right? The combination of Ru Meng and I is actually this powerful. Sun Hao was surprised. Looking back, he saw that Huang Rumeng was closing her eyes and was also absorbing the colorful immortal light. Ding, blessing point +3. The prompt sound kept ringing. Opening the blessing point panel, after a look, Sun Hao couldn't help but be shocked. On it, it showed 580344. It was not far from 600,000. Sun Hao stared at the rapidly increasing number on the blessing point panel, and his face was full of surprise. After a few breaths, ding, blessing point +3. After this, the blessing point reached 60. It was also at this moment that a sudden change occurred. Sun Hao's soul seemed to leave his body, and the scenery in front of him changed rapidly. This time, the place he came to was in the cosmic starry sky again. In front of him, it was the cosmic giant that shook the sky. He stood in the void, domineering. That huge body was indescribable. His eyes were as bright as the sun, making people dare not look directly. He looked ahead, stretched out his palm, and pressed down. Immediately, bang, the planets were as crispy as pancakes, and they exploded into fine powder. A cosmic turbulence spread out in all directions in a spherical shape. His speed was indescribable. In the blink of an eye, it blasted on Sun Hao. Bang! Sun Hao's body exploded. His consciousness returned to his body. He sat there, his face full of shock. He was killed again! Why did I see that giant? Who is he? Could it be that the system is warning me that such a monster will soon come to the purple sun star and telling me to prepare? At this point, Sun Hao took a few breaths of cold air. In front of such a powerhouse, there was no chance of struggling at all. Not to mention the fact that he couldn't cultivate now. Even if he could, what realm would he need to cultivate to deal with such a monster? If no one stopped him, wouldn't the purple sun star turn into dust? Thinking of this, Sun Hao's body trembled and cold sweat flowed. The cosmic giant was like a huge mountain pressing down on his chest, making it hard for him to breathe. I need to collect full blessing points as soon as possible, Sun Hao muttered to himself, looking at the blessing point panel. On the screen, it read, 600,000. Not a bit more, not a bit less. Could it be that the collection method has changed again? It won't be so bad, right? It's only 400,000, is it so difficult? Don't worry about this first, I'll try later. Sun Hao thought secretly and took back his mood. His eyes swept over Huang Rumring, but he saw her frowning with a painful face. However, she didn't make a sound from beginning to end. Is Rumring in pain? Why are the others completely different? Sun Hao's eyes swept to Huang Yoli and the others, but he saw that they all had a comfortable look on their faces. Rumring. Sun Hao walked to Huang Ruming's side and gently held her little hand. Huang Ruming's body trembled, and the pain disappeared instantly. On her face, there was an incomparably peaceful expression. At this moment, she seemed to understand. Let nature take its course, and it can't be forced. It turns out that the fusion of the great Tao is like this. Young master, thank you, I understand. The corners of Huang Ruming's mouth rose, and she began to fuse the great Tao. Take advantage of the situation to move, take advantage of the situation. The three great Tao, under the control of Huang Rumring, completely merged. They complemented each other and could not be separated from each other. At this moment, Huang Ruming opened her eyes and looked at Sun Hao with a grateful face. Young master. She threw herself into Sun Hao's arms and hugged him tightly. The fragrant smell came to his nose. Delicate face, slender thighs, proud figure, it was simply super perfect. Who could stand such a beauty sitting in his arms? Soon after, Sun Hao's body was out of his control. That kind of pride, like a dragon roaming, changed the color of the whole world. Huang Ruming sensed these strangeness, her face flushed, and she buried her head in Sun Hao's arms. Ha ha, I broke through and became an immortal king. The sudden voice startled Huang Ruming, and she hurriedly broke free from Sun Hao's arms. Looking up, she saw Hu Luoxian clenching his fists excitedly, beaming with joy. It took him a long time to calm down. He stepped forward, aimed at Sun Hao and knelt down. Young master, your great kindness, Shaoxian can't repay it. Let Shaoxian follow you? You're welcome. Sun Hao helped Hu Luoxian up, showing a trace of displeasure on his face. You almost scared yourself sick and you still want to follow me? What's the use of having you fight? With Rumring and Big Wolf here, do you need him? Let him be a light bulb to illuminate others? No, absolutely not. He was not embarrassed, and he was embarrassed. You don't have to follow me, you have more important things waiting for you, Sun Hao said. When Hu Luoxian heard this, he looked shocked. More important things? What does the young master mean? Hu Luoxian frowned, a look of thinking hard. Now, he wanted to ask but didn't dare to ask. The young master was cultivating with a mortal body, and he couldn't break his Tao heart. Yes, young master. Hu Luoxian clasped his fists and retreated. The others opened their eyes one after another. Huang Yuli clenched her fists, and her body trembled with excitement. I became a 7th-grade immortal king. My God! Huang Yuli muttered to herself. For a moment, she couldn't believe that all this was true. Then, she looked up, and her face changed drastically, and she was shocked. Here has been changed, every grass and every tree, everything has changed. Huang Yuli's divine sense swept around, and her face became more and more shocked. Her heart felt like it was hit by a storm, and for a while, she couldn't calm down at all. Supreme Holy Land, the young master actually changed our divine Phoenix Mountain into a supreme holy land. This great kindness, I can't repay it. Huang Yuli walked to Sun Hao with a grateful face. She was about to salute when Sun Hao helped her up. Young master, thank you very much. Aunt Huang, you're welcome. Meng-er. Huang Yuli looked at Huang Rumring and shouted. Mother, what can I do for you? You take the young master to visit Divine Phoenix Mountain, the scenery at the top is good. Huang Yuli kept winking at Huang Rumring. Huang Rumring looked at Sun Hao as if she didn't find it. Young master, would you like to go to the top of the mountain? Yes, I will be at the top of the mountain, and the scenery at the top of the mountain must be beautiful, Sun Hao said. Young master, let's go. Okay. The two stepped forward and walked to the top of the mountain. Huang Yuli looked at the back of the two, and the corner of her mouth raised a smile. P.S. Group 9477828868, urging updates, discussing the plot, bragging, all in this group, looking forward to everyone joining. Chapter 334. Mother, just now young master told me that he has something important waiting for me. What does that mean? Hu Luoxian looked at Hu Laina and asked. Hu Laina woke up from her joy with a solemn look on her face. Something important? Hu Laina looked at the Tao seal between Hu Luoxian's brows and nodded slightly. Presumably, young master's words are not only for you. Hu Laina said. Mother, what do you mean? Hu Luoxian asked. Look at the sky. Hu Laina pointed at the sky and said. The sky. Hu Luoxian looked up at the sky with a puzzled expression. Mother, above us is the mountain guarding Grand Array, and above the Grand Array is the spatial turbulence. What's wrong with that? Hu Luoxian asked. That's right, it's spatial turbulence. What young master needs us to do is to stop the space turbulence from spreading, Hu Laina said. The moment she said that, Huang Yuli's expression changed slightly. Nana, you can't. I'm enough to stop the spatial turbulence. Huang Yuli's face revealed a determined expression. Yuli. Hu Laina held Huang Yuli's hand. It's been hard on you all these years. You've sacrificed too much for demonic ancestral mountain. This time, don't fight with us. Let us go. Hu Laina said. Your heavenly fox clan suffered great losses. Nothing must happen to you. Leave this matter to the three of us. Huang Yuli turned around and saw old Manueli and the terrestrial venerable nodding at the same time, their faces filled with determination. His expression was incomparably resolute, as if he would follow his master to death. Mom, don't fight anymore. Let's go together, can't we? Hu Luoxi asked. Together? Hu Laina and Huang Yuli looked at each other and nodded at the same time. Do you know what this means? Huang Yuli asked. Aunt Huang, I know that 9 out of 10 will die if I go to suppress the formation, Hu Luoxi said. Are you guys ready? Hu Luoxian and Hu Luoxi nodded heavily. There's no time to lose, let's go now, Huang Yuli said. Aren't you going to say goodbye to Rumring? Lina asked. No need, she will understand. At this point, Huang Yuli looked at the sky as her thoughts drifted. I only hope to live peacefully. All right, let's go. Just as the six of them started walking, suddenly, Kacha! A clap of thunder pierced through the sky. A spatial crack spread through the turbulence in the sky. Space turbulence rushed out of the crack, spreading in all directions like a tsunami. Every strand of power seemed to be able to destroy the heavens and earth, causing one's scalp to go numb. When the spatial rift disappeared, the surrounding turbulent space flow became several times stronger. That kind of oppressive pressure made one's scalp go numb. When Huang Yuli and Hu Laina saw this, their expressions changed drastically. Hurry up! We must hurry, Hu Laina said. The six of them turned into afterimages as they dashed toward the Earth Vein teleportation formation. There were two sides to the conversation. Sun Hao and Huang Ruming held hands and went straight to the top of Divine Phoenix Mountain. Seeing the scene in front of him, Sun Hao couldn't help but be shocked, and his eyes flickered. There was a hot spring at the top of the mountain. Steam rose from the hot spring. The water was multicolored and indescribably beautiful. Seeing this hot spring, Huang Ruming was also slightly startled. The young master was really amazing. After a single song, the entire Divine Phoenix Mountain was transformed into a supreme holy land. I'm afraid that Jade Lake Palace is far inferior compared to it. Young master, it's warm here. I haven't taken a bath for a long time. Why don't we take a bath? Huang Ruming said. Okay, I have a swimsuit right now. Sun Hao's mind swept to the universe ring, and he couldn't help but look startled. He didn't bring a swimsuit out. He thought that winter was coming, so he didn't think that there was no place to swim. As a result, he didn't bring a swimsuit. Unexpectedly, there was a hot spring here. Without a swimsuit, how could they not be honest with each other? In case he lost control and did something. Wouldn't it be, Kacha? It broke. Wouldn't it hurt to death? Thinking of this, Sun Hao couldn't help but shiver. Young master, what's wrong? Huang Ruming asked. I forgot to bring a swimsuit out. Ruming, why don't you take a bath first, and I'll take a bath after you're done? Sun Hao said. Young master, no need. Two people can rub each other's back. Young master, let me help you rub your back first. Huang Ruming took Sun Hao's hand and walked to the hot spring. Smelling the faint fragrance on Huang Ruming's body, holding her soft, boneless little hand. For a while, Sun Hao's heart rippled. He felt that his soul was going to leave his body and be sublimated to the extreme. No matter, it's broken. Anyway, I have supreme medical skills, so I'll just pick it up again. Isn't it just a little pain? What's there to be afraid of? Thinking like this, Sun Hao also became more and more daring. He hugged Huang Ruming with both hands and took her into his arms. Huang Ruming blushed, adding a bit of shyness to her face. Young master, let me help you. Huang Ruming didn't dare to look at Sun Hao's eyes. The movements of the two small hands seemed very rusty. It took a lot of time to take off his shirt. His muscles were knotted and angular. Huang Ruming blushed to her ears and hurriedly lowered her head. Her whole heart was like a deer jumping, and she couldn't calm down for a long time. No one disturbed them. The two could clearly hear their violently beating hearts. They were extremely nervous. Pulling and pulling, they accidentally touched each other. The small hands retracted like electricity, and they reached out again. In her blue eyes, there was a trace of curiosity and shyness, and she didn't dare to look straight at him. Sun Hao's heart beat violently, and his whole soul soared rapidly. At this critical moment, Kacha! A thunderclap was earth-shattering. Sun Hao's body trembled, and his face changed drastically with fright. The divine dragon just went out to sea, as if it was surprised, and quickly retreated. His whole interest disappeared completely. Scared to death, Sun Hao looked at the crack in the sky, his face full of anger. This sound rose. The crack in space gradually faded and disappeared. The turbulence of space, which had been pressing down, was also quickly retreating. Young master, are you okay? Huang Rumming held Sun Hao's hand and asked. Rumming, I'm fine, or don't soak in the hot spring today, another day. Sun Hao said. Okay, young master. Huang Rumming nodded, followed Sun Hao, and flew down Divine Phoenix Mountain. When he returned to his residence, he found that everyone had left. Young master, you go back to the house to rest first, I'll be right back. Huang Rumming said after glancing around. Okay. Sun Hao walked straight into his room and lay on the bed, looking thoughtful. How can I collect the blessing point? Sun Hao looked at the blessing point panel, motionless. Suddenly, he raised his eyebrows, looked at the value on the blessing point panel, and couldn't help but be stunned. He saw that the blessing point suddenly increased by 1 point. How did it increase? There was no pattern at all. What the hell is going on here? Sun Hao muttered to himself. Ding, blessing point +1. Ding, blessing point +1. A series of prompts sounded. The blessing point was increasing rapidly. Sun Hao froze in place, showing incredible surprise. This unimaginable scene was completely unexpected. There was no blessing point for him to send things and play music. Unexpectedly, it would increase automatically. Moreover, looking at this situation, there was no sign of stopping at all. If this goes on, it will be full in 10 days at most, right? Did the system give it to me? Sun Hao muttered to himself, a burst of excitement in his heart. Young master. At this moment, Huang Rumming came quickly and ran to Sun Hao's side, looking hesitant to speak. Rumming, don't be polite to me, just say it. Sun Hao said. Young master, my mother is missing, I'm going to find her. Huang Rumming said. I'll go with you. Sun Hao stood up and said. But, there was a trace of worry on Huang Rumming's face. Why, did your mother go to a dangerous place? Sun Hao asked. Huang Rumming nodded. Then we just happen to be together, and we can take care of each other. Don't worry, Big Wolf is by my side, it can protect me. Sun Hao said. He had a supreme buff. When he encountered danger, he could add a state to Huang Rumming. Turning defeat into victory was not a problem. Okay, young master. Huang Rumming nodded. Chapter 335. The Demon Burial Mountain Range was located to the south of the ancestral Demon Mountain. Here, ancient trees towered into the sky. It was a primeval forest scene. On this day, 3 figures were running quickly in the forest. They were Sun Hao and the other 2. Young master, the Demon Burial Mountain Range is the territory of the Violent Ape Clan, we have to be careful. Huang Rumming said. Violent Ape Clan? With your strength, are you still afraid of them? Sun Hao's face was full of doubts. Young master, among the 6 great clans of the Demon Ancestor Mountain, everyone thinks that my Divine Phoenix race is the strongest, but that is not the case. The Violent Ape race is the strongest. There are quite a few celestial kings in their clan. Legend has it that there is a terrifying existence in their clan with extraordinary means. It is said that he has already reached the celestial prime realm. Usually, they only stay in the Demon Burial Mountain Range and ignore the affairs of the world. This is why our Divine Phoenix race has the chance to unify the Demon Ancestral Mountain Range. Of course, the Demon Burial Mountain Range is a forbidden area for all demons. A trace of fear appeared on Huang Rumming's face. When Sun Hao heard this, he nodded secretly. No wonder only the Violent Ape Clan hadn't been seen among the 6 king clans. Who would have thought that he was actually living in this place? An immortal venerable seemed to be extremely strong. He had to be careful. Then how about we fly over from the sky? Sun Hao asked. Hearing this, Huang Rumming's face changed drastically. Young master, you must not. This Demon Burial Mountain Range also has a void-splitting ancient beast sealed. Huang Rumming said. Sky-cracking ancient? What kind of creature is this? The name sounds scary. Young master, ancient space ripping can control space. It is said that it is the ancestor of the great Tao of space. Anyone who uses the great Tao of space is no match for it. Moreover, once you are trapped by it, you will never be able to escape. Huang Ruming said. What? Sun Hao's face changed slightly. The progenitor of the great Tao of space was definitely an extremely powerful being. It was best not to provoke such a ferocious beast. Isn't it sealed? Sun Hao asked. That's right, that's why it's so scary. Even if his strength is sealed, the power he releases at will is enough to immobilize flying creatures. At this point, Huang Ruming pointed to the sky. Looking in the direction of Huang Ruming's finger, Sun Hao looked at the sky, and his face changed slightly. In the sky, a giant eagle was frozen in place, unable to move. The giant eagle's body had already been eroded by the wind, leaving only its feathers and skeleton. From the looks of it, it had been fixed in the sky for many years. If he and Huang Ruming flew over, would they also become like this? At this point, Sun Hao secretly wiped his cold sweat. This world is really scary. It's better to be careful. Sun Hao took a few long breaths before calming down. Young master, there are many wild beasts in the Demon Burial Mountain range besides violent ape. Many of them have reached the celestial realm. Be careful. Huang Ruming said. Wu, at this moment, the blood wolf let out a low growl, as if it was protesting. All right, I know you're very powerful. Sun Hao touched the blood wolf's head and said. Young master, let's go and try to get there before the sky-ripping ancient beast breaks the seal. This way there is a glimmer of hope. Otherwise, if such a vicious beast comes out, it will be a disaster for the entire purple sun star. Huang Ruming said. All right. Sun Hao had just finished speaking, but he saw the blood wolf sniff its nose and rushed in one direction. Big wolf, where are you going? Slow down. Sun Hao stepped forward and chased after him quickly. Buzz, Huang Ruming was about to catch up, and there was a vibration in the soul space. When he opened it, he found that it was the demon seal that was shaking. On the demon seal, a faint red light lit up, and it was impossible to detect it without looking carefully. Seeing the change of the demon seal, Huang Ruming frowned slightly. How can it light up without pouring power into it? Ruming, hurry up. Yes, young master. Huang Ruming put away the jade seal, stepped forward, and rushed forward. Along the way, all the wild beasts were crawling on the ground, shivering. Ruming, what's going on? Are they afraid of us? Sun Hao asked. It shouldn't be. Huang Ruming frowned slightly. The young master was originally a mortal. He had the method of restraining his breath, and he looked no different from a mortal. The blood wolf was also restrained at this moment. It stood to reason that these were wild beasts, and it was impossible to sense it. Even if they could sense it, they would probably rush forward desperately. At this moment they were crawling on the ground, which was not in line with common sense at all. Wu, suddenly, the blood wolf slowed down, bared its teeth at the front, and growled in a low voice. Looking in the direction of the blood wolf, the two couldn't help but shrink their pupils, and their faces were full of shock. That is, they saw that there was a huge mountain dozens of kilometers away. This giant mountain was shaped like a palm pressing down on them. It looked like the hand of heaven, suppressing some kind of monster down. Above the huge mountain, there was a giant ape with a height of 1,000 meters sitting on it, closing its eyes like a monarch. Suddenly, the giant ape opened its eyes, and two golden lights burst out, sweeping directly in the direction of Sun Hao. Howl! The giant ape let out a roar, and its hands slammed on its chest. Afterward, it pointed in the direction of Sun Hao and the others, making a burst of strange cries. Wu, at this moment. Deng deng, like thousands of horses galloping, the whole earth was buzzing and trembling. Under the impact of the collision, the huge ancient trees cracked one by one. Messy branches and debris flew everywhere. The ground was cracked layer by layer, and the dust rose into the sky. Looking from a distance, the ground surged like a tsunami, making people's scalp numb. Huang Ruming's expression was shocked, and her face changed slightly. Not good, we were discovered by the violent ape clan, Huang Ruming said. Howl! The blood wolf jumped up, turned into a red light, and instantly disappeared in place. A moment later, boom, boom, a series of explosions came from a distance. The violent ape, which was a few meters tall, flew out upside down like a broken kite and hit the ground heavily. The blood wolf, which looked like a little milk dog, had amazing power. Every claw could tear apart a group of violent apes. Howl! The blood wolf let out a roar. A shock wave shook out of the blood wolf's mouth and flew quickly toward the 1,000-meter giant ape. Boom! Boom! Wherever it went, it burst open one after another. Those violent apes that rushed forward, like a celestial maiden scattering flowers, soared into the sky, scattered all around, fell to the ground, and turned into meat paste. This airflow, like a giant air wave, rushed away, seeing that it was about to hit the giant mountain. At this time, Howl, the 1,000-meter giant ape, opened its mouth and let out a roar. A shock wave sprayed out of the giant ape's mouth, and the two collided. Boom! There was a dull, loud noise. The whole earth was shaking. Endless dust rose into the sky, crashing in all directions. When everything stopped, in the center of the explosion, an incomparably huge deep pit appeared, which made people's scalp numb. Huang Ruming looked at this scene with a face full of surprise. The blow just now was at least the full blow of a 5th-grade immortal king. Unexpectedly, the seemingly inconspicuous blood wolf actually had such ability. Ruming, everything is with the big wolf. Let's just watch. Sun Hao looked at the blood wolf and nodded secretly. Sure enough, he didn't feed it in vain. This strength was really strong. He didn't know who was stronger and who was weaker compared to the 1,000-meter giant ape. Yes, young master. Huang Ruming took Sun Hao and jumped to an ancient tree, watching from a distance. Chapter 336. This is not a place where you should come. Quickly retreat, otherwise, you will definitely leave your life here. The 1,000-meter-long giant ape did not attack immediately, but spoke in human language. The voice was long and it shook people's ears. Woo! The blood wolf let out a low growl, full of provocation. Woo! The 1,000-meter-long giant ape let out an angry roar. Dong dong! The sky-encompassing hand slapped its chest heavily, appearing mighty and mighty. However, the puppy-like blood wolf was unmoved. Its buttocks faced the 1,000-meter-long giant ape, shaking from side to side. The provocation was extremely strong. The 1,000-meter-long giant ape trembled with anger, and its eyes were blood-red. That kind of anger seemed to burn it. Damn animal, do you really think this seat is afraid of you? The 1,000-meter-long giant ape jumped up, jumped straight down from the giant hand, and landed heavily on the ground. Boom! There was a loud noise and the dust exploded. The terrifying power whistled in all directions. The 1,000-meter-long giant ape stood up, stretched out its giant hand, and pressed down on the blood wolf. Boundless pressure came down from his palm in a continuous stream. At this moment, the blood wolf's body trembled violently, and the red hair all over its body stood up, as if it had encountered the most terrifying thing. Woo! The blood wolf struggled frantically, but it was useless. Its body was like being pressed by 10,000 giant mountains, and it could not move at all. Plop! The blood wolf crawled on the ground, shivering. Animals will always be animals, they can't even withstand a single blow. Provoke this seat, die. The speed of the palm suddenly increased a bit and it quickly fell down, seeing that it was about to hit the blood wolf. At this time, Gotcha! The sound of joints cracking rang out. On the head of the blood wolf, 2 horns grew out instantly. The whole body expanded rapidly. In the blink of an eye, it grew to 2 kilometers high. The 1,000-meter-long giant ape slapped it, but there was no reaction. Wu, the endless killing aura spread from the blood wolf in all directions, enveloping the 1,000-meter-long giant ape. The 1,000-meter-long giant ape looked up at the blood wolf, opened its mouth and murmured, but did not spit out a word. Plop, it seemed that it couldn't stand this pressure and fell directly to the ground. In its eyes there was a deep look of horror. Boom, the heaven-encompassing wolf claw descended from the sky, pressing the 1,000-meter-tall ape to the ground. No matter how it struggled, it was useless. Blood Wolf looked down at the giant ape. You actually evolved into a god. Divine beast Qilin. But even so what? Quickly let go of this seat. Otherwise, all of you will die here. The 1,000-meter-tall ape roared furiously. However, Buzz, the blood wolf, stretched out its other claw and slammed it down. Wherever the claws went, the space would shatter inch by inch into fine powder. No help! The 1,000-meter-long ape's scalp went numb as it shouted with all its might. However, it was useless. Bang! There was an explosion. The giant ape's head was crushed into powder by the blood wolf's claw. His entire body twitched non-stop, and under the blood wolf's brandishing claws, his entire body exploded into powder. Seeing this scene, Sun Hao was shocked. He didn't expect that the wolf he had raised would have such terrifying strength. Back then, he still wanted to train an army. Now that he thought about it, he decided to forget about it. One blood wolf was equivalent to a magnificent army. Soldiers were in quality, not in quantity. As long as the blood wolf was cultivated well, it would not be a problem to walk around the world in the future. It seems to have increased a lot of blessing points just now. Sun Hao opened the blessing point panel and saw the thousands of blessing points that had been added above, and his eyes shone. In this way, killing the enemy can also get blessing points? Sun Hao thought secretly. Withdrawing his mood, Sun Hao's eyes swept to the blood wolf. Howl! The blood wolf let out a roar and roared toward the sky. He looked like the victor of a battle for the alpha wolf's position. Then, the blood wolf took a step and rushed straight to the giant mountain. Seeing that the blood wolf was about to jump to the mountain. At this time, boom, there was a loud noise. The blood wolf hit a barrier, flew out directly, and hit the ground heavily. After struggling to get up, he coldly saw the scene in front of him. He saw that on the top of the mountain there was a golden giant ape, no, a golden Buddha. Ba! The Buddha put his hands together, and the sacred aura enveloped his whole body. Evil creature, killing innocent people, today let me enlighten you. After speaking, the Buddha sat cross-legged on the mountain peak, chanting in his mouth. Gulu, 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 gulu. A line of incomprehensible scriptures came out of his mouth. These scriptures flew quickly, condensing into a golden illusory big hand, and rushed straight to the blood wolf. Howl! The blood wolf let out a roar, did not dodge, aimed at the illusory big hand, and bit. Boom! There was an explosion. The blood wolf was blasted into the ground by the illusory big hand, and for a while it was difficult to struggle. Boom! Before waiting for the blood wolf to react, the illusory big golden hand pressed down again, slapping heavily on the blood wolf. Woo! The blood wolf let out a shrill scream. Such a scene strongly stimulated Huang Ruming's nerves. Young master, immortal venerable level powerhouse. Huang Ruming looked back, but saw Sun Hao's face full of anger. Where are you chanting scriptures? You are obviously a fake Buddha. Look at me. Sun Hao took out the scriptures and opened his mouth to read. Sarira, color is not different from emptiness, emptiness is not different from color, color is emptiness, emptiness is color, receiving, thinking, moving, and knowing are also the same. A series of scriptures gushed out of Sun Hao's mouth. These scriptures, like butterflies flying all over the sky, enveloped the entire sky. Seeing this scene, the golden Buddha's face changed drastically. Gulu, gulu, gulu. The golden Buddha sped up and chanted the scriptures desperately. However, no matter how hard he tried, there were only a few scriptures that flew out of his mouth. Every time Sun Hao chanted the scriptures were like a blowout, covering heaven and earth. From a distance it was like a firefly and the sun, there was no comparison at all. This is impossible. In this world, how can there be such a powerful Buddhist Tao? Even the old Ancestor is far from being able to do it. What kind of monster is he? The Golden Buddha muttered to himself and chanted the scriptures frantically. On his forehead, beads of sweat rolled down, gathering more and more. Panic was written all over his face. The scriptures that Sun Hao chanted quickly condensed together. In less than a moment, it formed a giant golden Buddha several kilometers high. In front of him, the Buddha was like an ant and a giant elephant. There was no comparison at all. Humph! The giant golden Buddha stretched out his big hand and rushed straight to the Buddha. No, no! The Buddha's face changed dramatically, and he spat out the scriptures, condensed them into a golden palm, blocking the top of his head. However, boom, in just an instant, the palm broke apart and disappeared without a trace. Buzz, the speed of the palm did not decrease, and it fell quickly toward the Buddha. Around the palm, golden flames ignited and soared up. The shocking power pressed toward the Buddha like a tsunami. Chapter 337. No, a heart-wrenching cry shook heaven and earth. The golden palm arrived quickly and pressed on the Buddha in an instant. Gotcha! The sound of glass cracking rang out. On the Buddha's body, cracks covered his whole body. Immediately afterward, boom, with a loud explosion, the Buddha directly burst open. Sun Hao looked at this scene, opened his mouth wide, and was surprised. His heart felt like it was hit by a storm, and he couldn't calm down for a long time. The giant golden Buddha's eyes swept around and stared directly at the giant mountain. Whoosh! 2 golden lights burst out, and in an instant, they blasted on the giant mountain. Boom! On the surface of the giant mountain, rows of cracks burst open. It looked like a layer of camouflage was torn off, revealing the true appearance. When the dust dissipated, a giant golden hand appeared in front of everyone. Above the palm, endless scriptures lingered around the palm. It looked like a Buddha's hand. Under the Buddha's hand, there was an ape-shaped statue up to 2 kilometers high. Unlike other apes, this statue had 6 ears, which made it look a little weird. The statue held a giant stick in its right hand, and its left hand stretched forward. Those eyes seemed to be able to sweep the world and see through the sky. That calm and composed look, as if everything was under control. At the feet of the ape-shaped statue, there was a pentagonal giant tower. The pentagonal giant tower was up to 1 kilometer high and black all over. On it exuded a metallic luster, looking like a metal tower, indestructible. A thick and quaint aura came from the pentagonal giant tower. Fellow Taoist, this is not a place you should come. Retreat. This venerable can let bygones be bygones. A divine voice came from the golden Buddha's hand, shaking the world and making it buzz and tremble. The voice was not loud, but the kind of overbearing and fierce was contained in it. This voice, with an invisible killing intent, whistled in all directions and rushed straight to Sun Hao. It was about to hit Sun Hao. At this time, the giant golden Buddha stretched out a finger and pressed forward. Buzz! There was a roar, and the world seemed to be shattered, causing layers of ripples. This voice collapsed in the ripples. Buzz! The air around the Buddha's hand trembled wildly. A golden shadow flew up from the Buddha's hand and stood in front of the giant golden Buddha. 2 beams of golden light shot out of his eyes and swept across the giant golden Buddha. It's you. His voice was filled with shock. In the eyes of the phantom, the pupils rapidly shrank. You didn't die? Another cry of surprise rang out. The giant golden Buddha didn't answer. He just smiled. Buzz! He extended his finger unhurriedly and blasted it forward. How dare you! Just as these words rang out, they stopped abruptly. The phantom image shattered into light fragments and disappeared without a trace. Buzz! The Buddha hand was trembling violently. Boom! Boom! The ground beneath the Buddha's hand rumbled. The golden Buddha hand rose from the ground. It quickly flew towards the giant golden Buddha and landed in his hand. Bang! With a light grip, the scriptures on the Buddha's hand crumbled. Immediately after, the Buddha's hand broke apart bit by bit and exploded into fine powder. As the wind blew, the dust slowly fell and disappeared without a trace. Sun Hao looked at this scene and was stunned for a long time. I didn't expect that I could summon the Buddha. The scriptures produced by my chanting could form a giant Buddha, and it could even destroy the power of everything with one finger. The phantom image just now looked extremely powerful, but it couldn't stop the power of the giant Buddha's finger. Who could be so terrifying in the world today? Thinking back to when the system forced him to chant scriptures, he refused it like this. If I knew it earlier, I wouldn't be so perfunctory. I should read it seriously. Thinking of this, Sun Hao's face showed a touch of shame. Suddenly, Kacha, the sound of glass bursting sounded. This sound was deafening and particularly harsh. It instantly attracted Sun Hao's gaze. Looking at the sound, Sun Hao's pupils shrank, and his face kept changing. He saw. A crack appeared on the giant ape statue. Immediately afterward, the cracks were cobweb-like, spreading rapidly all over the body. Boom! There was an explosion, and the dust soared into the sky. For a while, he couldn't see what was inside. Sun Hao stared blankly. His heart seemed to jump out of his throat, and his hands trembled slightly. Holding Huang Ruming's soft and boneless little hand, he felt much better. Buzz! Suddenly 2 blood-red lights burst out of the dust. Violent and fierce aura came continuously and surged in all directions. Jia jia! A burst of wild laughter sounded from the dust, shaking heaven and earth. Whoosh! A figure sprang out of the dust and stood directly in front of the giant golden Buddha. This figure was completely red, and when it grinned, it revealed its sharp teeth. It was like a ghost beast from hell, and it would cause one's hair to stand on end. Not good, that's the 6-eared monkey. Huang Ruming looked at this scene, her face full of horror. 6-eared monkey? Sun Hao listened to these words and frowned slightly. Why does this name sound so familiar? Isn't this the mythical character in the Journey to the West? Wasn't it killed by Sun Wukong? How could it be here? Could it be that the Journey to the West is true? The more he thought about it, the bigger Sun Hao's head became. Ruming, is the 6-eared monkey very powerful? Sun Hao asked. Young master, the 6-eared monkey is an ancient monster beast, extremely powerful, more than powerful to describe. Later, it seemed to be infected by the ultimate aura and became the great killing sage. I didn't expect it to be suppressed here. Huang Ruming said. Ultimate aura? What is this? Sun Hao was even more confused. Young master, that is the most evil thing in the world, you must not touch it, otherwise. At this point, Huang Ruming couldn't go on. Her body trembled violently as if she had encountered a great horror. Ruming, don't be afraid. We have Buddha here, don't worry. Listening to Sun Hao's words, Huang Ruming took a few long breaths and then calmed down. The two of them stared directly at the 6-eared monkey. They saw. Buzz! The 6-eared monkey waved the long rod in his hand, pointed at the giant golden Buddha, and laughed wildly. Child, you shameless thing! I, old Sun, have helped you do so many things, and you dare to treat me like this. If I don't beat you into a discus today, I am not old Sun. After the 6-eared monkey finished speaking, he raised the iron rod in his hand and smashed it at the giant golden Buddha. In the process of smashing down, the iron rod rapidly became thicker and longer. Like a metal heavenly pillar, covering the heavens and the earth, it fell rapidly. The sound of explosions kept ringing. The entire heavens and earth changed color. Sun Hao looked up at the sky, and fine beads of sweat overflowed on his forehead. If this smashed down, he would definitely be smashed to pieces. He hoped that the giant golden Buddha could block it. Sun Hao prayed secretly, looking at the giant golden Buddha, his eyes motionless. Seeing that the giant rod covering the sky was about to fall and smash everyone into powder. At this time, two rays of light burst out of the giant golden Buddha's eyes. He stretched out a finger and flicked toward the sky. Chapter 338. The giant golden Buddha stretched out a hand, aimed at the giant stick in the sky, and flicked it. It looked like an ant trying to shake a tree, overestimating its own strength. However, the finger hit the target. Buzz, heaven and earth shook. The entire cudgel was trembling slightly and rumbling non-stop. The giant cudgel rapidly shrank and landed in the six-eared me monkey's hand, which then flew out with it. Pooh! A mouthful of blood sprayed from the six-eared monkey's mouth. It stood in the sky and looked at the giant golden Buddha. It grinned, its mouth red. Interesting, very interesting. Kid, I didn't expect you to have some skills. However, you want to deal with me, old son, with just this ability. Hee, the six-eared me monkey let out a maniacal laugh. There was not a hint of fear on his face. He pulled out a clump of hair from behind his ear and gently blew on it. Change. After this sound, swish, many figures appeared out of thin air. Every one of them looked exactly like the six-eared me monkey. Swish. He waved the metal cudgel in his hand, creating countless sonic booms. Ah! I, old son, am here. Little brat, die. I, old son, will beat you to death. These six-eared monkeys covered the sky and earth as they rushed toward the giant golden Buddha. Each stick danced in the air, emitting a shocking pressure and a series of explosions. Seeing this, the giant golden Buddha's expression did not change at all. The two giant hands slowly closed. Buzz, there was a loud bang and heaven and earth trembled. With the giant golden Buddha's hands as the epicenter, boundless waves of air rapidly spread in all directions. Wherever he went, bang, explosions kept ringing out. One by one, the six-eared monkeys exploded into dust and disappeared in the waves of energy. Around the giant golden Buddha, everything returned to normal. Suddenly, the giant golden Buddha raised his eyebrows and his expression changed slightly. Not good. He turned around to look. However, he saw that the six-eared me monkey had already come to Sun Hao. It grinned, aimed the iron rod in its hand at Sun Hao's eyebrows and smashed down. Son, he must be the person you care about the most, right? I, old son, will destroy him. Let's see if you can survive. The six-eared me monkey's eyes were filled with a cold smile. The next second, the six-eared monkey's pupils constricted as his expression changed drastically. To his horror, he discovered that his strength was rapidly draining away. No, it was quickly being sealed. The metal cudgel in his hand seemed to weigh billions of kilograms. It was impossible for him to lift it. Swish, the iron cudgel flew out of his hand and fell to the ground. It crashed into the ground and exploded into a cloud of dust. The six-eared monkey froze in place, looking at Sun Hao in horror. This is impossible. This is impossible. He sealed old Sun's power with just a glance? Just him? How is that possible? You, who are you? Let go of old Sun and we'll fight for 3,000 rounds. The six-eared me monkey struggled and mumbled, but it couldn't utter a single word. Sun Hao looked at this scene and secretly wiped a cold sweat. It was so exciting. If this stick were to fall, his head would definitely be smashed. Fortunately, the Buddha was strong enough to fix it in place. It was too dangerous. A monkey like this actually wanted to kill him. Are you barking up the wrong tree? Humph. A cold snort sounded. The giant golden Buddha's face revealed a cold, killing intent. At this moment, the giant golden Buddha was like a furious Buddha, stretching out his giant hand to cover the sky. In an instant, he grabbed the six-eared me monkey in his hand. Die. A faint sound seemed to sentence the six-eared me monkey to death. Two fingers gently pinched. Endless scriptures quickly enveloped the six-eared me monkey. Ah, the six-eared me monkey let out a burst of mournful screams. On his body, wisps of black smoke burned. Let go of old Sun. Old Sun can't be killed. Next time I see you, I will take your life. After this sound, boom, the six-eared me monkey's body exploded into powder and disappeared without a trace. Seeing this, Sun Hao breathed a sigh of relief. That's great, he's dead. This terrifying monster was finally dead. Sun Hao's eyes were fixed on the giant golden Buddha. He saw the giant golden Buddha's right hand spread out. Buzz, the iron cudgel on the ground quickly flew into his palm. Boom, with a light grip, it directly broke into powder. A shadow flew out of the powder and bowed deeply to the giant golden Buddha. The giant golden Buddha nodded slightly, staring at the pentagonal black pagoda. Whoosh, from his eyes, two golden lights burst out and fell directly on the pentagonal black pagoda. Immediately, Kacha cracks spread all over the pentagonal black pagoda. Boom, with a loud explosion, the entire pentagonal black pagoda collapsed. A golden shadow flew out of the pentagonal black pagoda. This shadow looked very similar to the six-eared me monkey. The difference was that he only had 2 ears. The golden shadow stood in front of the giant Buddha and bowed deeply. Subsequently, he and another shadow, looking in the direction of Sun Hao together, knelt 3 times and kowtowed 9 times. The shadow opened the thunder god's mouth and said some silent words. Although it was silent, it was full of gratitude. Whoosh, subsequently, the 2 shadows soared into the sky, flew quickly to the west, and disappeared without a trace. Seeing this scene, Sun Hao breathed a sigh of relief, murmuring, "What was that kneeling to us just now? Why wasn't he imprisoned in the sky?" "Young master, that's a wisp of soul. There is no entity, so it can't be imprisoned." Huang Ruming's face showed a look of fear. Unexpectedly, this demon burial mountain range was so terrifying. She calmed down after taking a few long breaths. Soul? So, in this pentagonal black pagoda, is it suppressing the soul? Sun Hao asked. Yes. Huang Ruming nodded. So, it was us who saved him? So he saluted? Sun Hao asked. It's not us, it's you who saved him, Huang Ruming said. Hearing this, Sun Hao smiled slightly. Indeed, everything was the credit of the giant golden Buddha. The giant golden Buddha was summoned by himself. It was natural for the shadow to be grateful to him. There was a shock. The giant golden Buddha pointed his right hand. Blood Wolf's body flew out uncontrollably and floated in front of the giant golden Buddha. At this moment, Blood Wolf was already on the verge of death. The giant golden Buddha's right hand pressed down, and a Buddha seal flew down from the sky, enveloping Blood Wolf. Infinite golden light poured into Blood Wolf's body like a waterfall. The injuries on Blood Wolf's body recovered at a speed visible to the naked eye. The Tao seal between Blood Wolf's eyebrows gradually changed from red to gold and red. The 2 great Taos merged together. Huang Ruming looked at this scene and was so shocked that she did not recover for a long time. The young master's servant's means were so terrifying. The gap between me and the young master's servant is really not a little bit. How can I be worthy of the young master? I must work hard as soon as possible. Huang Ruming muttered to herself and thought secretly. She clenched her fists with a firm expression on her face. Blood Wolf recovered as before and let out an excited roar. Afterward, he nodded slightly to the giant golden Buddha to show respect. The giant golden Buddha nodded, then turned back and looked at Sun Hao. He put his hands together and bowed. Boom! His body exploded into countless scriptures. The scriptures in the sky gradually dissipated. Sun Hao looked at this scene, and his heart was hit by a tsunami, unable to calm down for a long time. His own chanting was so terrifying. Why didn't he find it before? Or could it be that only chanting when in danger would summon the Buddha? This must be verified. In case it was the same as what he thought. In the future, when he encountered danger, He only needed to move his mouth, and he could suppress everything. Why not? There was no need to collect the blessing point and make it so troublesome. However, it seems that collecting the blessing point has become easier now. It has been increasing, and it has reached 680,000 in just a few days. If this goes on, I will be able to collect 1 million in a few days at most. It's always a good thing to be able to cultivate by myself. Sun Hao thought secretly and took back his mood. Huang Rumeng slowly landed with Sun Hao. Deng, Blood Wolf rushed over and turned into a little puppy again, circling around Sun Hao, wagging its tail. Master, you are so powerful! Blood Wolf passed a telepathic voice transmission. Okay, don't flatter me. You need to work hard, and you must not slack off. You can't let me do it every time, right? Sun Hao said. Master, don't worry, I will work hard. Okay, you open the way ahead and take us to the sealed place of the crack void beast. Sun Hao said. Okay, Master. Blood Wolf sniffed. Afterward, it found a direction and ran forward quickly. Rumeng, let's go. Sun Hao took Huang Rumeng's hand and quickly chased after it. The figures of 2 people and 1 wolf were quickly swallowed by the forest and disappeared. P.S. I don't know if everyone has gone to see the pirated version? Support the original, please come to QQ Achiochio to read. Group 9477828868, looking forward to your joining. Chapter 339. In the west of the Tianluo continent there was an endless ocean. This ocean was called the Endless Sea. On a huge island, boom, the dull loud noise kept coming. Shock waves continued to howl and fly outwards. It shook the ground and the sand and stones trembled. In the center of the island, a giant ape wielding an iron rod was engaged in a fierce battle with a skeletal monster. Boom! Every time they collided, there would be a deafening loud noise. The terrifying shock waves kept whistling in all directions. Boom! The weapons collided and the fire splashed. My evil race's 108,000 islands, hundreds of millions of brothers, were all destroyed by you. This hatred is as deep as the sea of blood. We must avenge it. Today, don't even think about leaving. You must leave your lives here. The skeleton monster spat out the human language and kept waving its big knife. The big knife in its hand was like a heavy weight, and every attack made the giant ape's hands numb. The web between the thumb and the index finger had long been cracked, and blood covered the entire iron bar. However, the giant ape did not give up. He gritted his teeth and persisted, struggling to hold on. Behind him, there were 4 figures lying on the ground, their faces pale. These 4 people were the master and apprentices headed by Ning Mingji. Master, why is this last difficulty so difficult? Eldest senior brother can't hold on anymore. What should we do? What should we do? The pig demon complained again and again. There is no way. Ning Mingji's breath was like a gossamer, barely squeezing out a sentence. Since we can't survive the 81 difficulties, it must be fate. It's all my fault. I'm not strong enough to protect you. Ning Mingji's face was full of apology. Master, don't say that, it's not your fault. Blame me for being too weak. The drought demon gritted his teeth and struggled, trying to stand up, but the injury was too serious to stand up. Eldest senior brother, come on. You are wearing the armor given by the young master, you will be fine. The unicorn's eyes bloomed with hope and said. If there was no armor given by the young master, how could the eldest senior brother hold on until now? I'm afraid we would have been turned into ashes long ago. The pig demon's face was full of bitterness. Their eyes were all fixed on the giant ape. They saw. The giant ape gritted his teeth and roared, aiming at the skeleton giant and smashing it down. Boom! There was a loud noise. The giant ape was knocked back by the recoil, and it took a long time for it to stabilize itself. Damned monkey, give up struggling. It's useless. The sooner I die, the sooner I can reincarnate. After you die, I will refine you into my puppet." As the skeletal giant spoke, he nimbly swung the large blade in his hand. Buzz, as the saber fell, the air rumbled. Bang! How could the giant ape react in time? It collapsed with a loud bang. Bang! Bang! He knelt on the ground, causing the ground to crack and sink. The huge saber in the skeleton giant's hand pressed down on the metal staff, giving off a high-pitched, ear-piercing sound. The giant ape's hands were trembling, and its entire body was trembling violently. It seemed like it would collapse at any moment. Boom! There was a loud noise. The giant ape fell heavily to the ground. The entire iron cudgel flew out. Buzz! The broadsword's speed didn't slow down at all as it slashed down at the giant ape's head. "No, eldest senior brother! Monkey! Disciple!" 4 exclamations sounded at the same time. They closed their eyes and didn't dare to look at this miserable scene. Seeing that, the broadsword was about to cut the giant ape's neck. At this time, 2 golden phantoms flew from the void, and one entered the giant ape's body. The other one entered the iron cudgel. At this moment, the injuries on the giant ape's body recovered rapidly. Swish, however, the speed of the broadsword didn't slow down and still fell on the giant ape's neck. Boom! A sound rang out. This broadsword was like cutting on a divine weapon. The broadsword in the skeleton giant's hand directly broke apart. However, this was not the end. A recoil force slammed into the skeleton giant's body. Boom! The skeleton giant's body flew upside down and hit the ground heavily, exploding dust into the sky. The giant ape slowly flew up and stood in midair, his body blooming with golden brilliance. His body quickly shrank. Finally, it became the size of a human. The armor on his body left his body and flew out. Boom! The sound of metal cracking rang out. The armor cracked in the sky and split into 3. As if conscious, it changed rapidly. One piece turned into a purple-gold 7-star crown. One piece turned into a pair of lotus silk cloud-walking shoes. One piece turned into a golden chain armor. Ding ding! These 3 things flew quickly and wore directly on the monkey demon's body. The monkey demon opened his eyes, and 2 golden lights burst out. He stood in midair, looked in the direction of the demon ancestral mountain, and bowed deeply. "Young master, your great kindness I will never forget." "Old man, come here," the monkey demon shouted softly. The world trembled. The iron cudgel inserted into the ground flew quickly and fell into the hands of the monkey demon. At the moment when the monkey demon held the iron cudgel, cracks spread throughout the iron cudgel. On the iron cudgel, like a layer of iron was peeled off, revealing the original principle. A dazzling golden light lit up from the iron cudgel. On it, a few golden words were written, "Rui Jin Gu Bang." Swish, the golden cudgel kept circling around the monkey demon. That expression was like a puppy seeing its owner, cheering and jumping. Okay. Are you satisfied with the body that the young master rebuilt for you?" the monkey demon asked. Swish, the golden cudgel kept circling, shaking up and down, as if it was nodding. Such a scene, in the eyes of Ning Mingji and the others, they couldn't help but be dumbfounded. Suddenly, Ning Mingji's scalp exploded, pointed behind the monkey demon, and shouted, "Be careful!" However, it was too late. Only to see, behind the monkey demon, the skeleton giant picked up a giant black saber, with the momentum to cut everything, aimed at the monkey demon's head and slashed down. For all this, the monkey demon didn't seem to notice. Or, he didn't have time to react at all. The sky was torn apart by the giant black saber. The terrifying power, continuous heaven and earth, pressed down. At the moment when the big saber was about to cut the monkey demon. The monkey demon snorted coldly, and the cold, killing intent burst out. He turned his head and waved his hand. The golden cudgel grew rapidly, and in an instant, it hit the forehead of the skeleton giant. The falling black saber was fixed in the air, a few centimeters away from the monkey demon. Gotcha! Cracks spread to the whole body with the skeleton giant's eyebrows as the center. Boom! The body of the skeleton giant cracked apart little by little and exploded into powder. Even the black saber in its hand was no exception. Such a scene directly shocked Ningmingji and the others in place. The look on everyone's face was similar in surprise. That kind of shock and disbelief could not be described in words. Swish! The monkey demon retracted the golden cudgel, turned into a ray of golden light, and sent it into his ear. Then, he flew down and came to Ningmingji and the others. Hoo! He gently blew a breath of air. Wisps of golden light flowed into their bodies. At this moment, everyone's injuries recovered rapidly. In less than a moment, they recovered as before. For a long time, Ningmingji came back to his senses, stood up, and looked up and down at the monkey demon. Little monkey, you? Master, my name is not Little Monkey, my name is Sun Wukong. Speaking of this, in the eyes of the monkey demon, a murderous intent burst out. He stared at the west. Old man Rulai, wait for me. Withdrawing his mood, Sun Wukong spoke again. Master, in fact, I just recovered my memory. Recovered your memory? Ningmingji's eyes were full of puzzlement. Master, listen to me carefully. Chapter 340. Demon Ancestor Mountain, the center of the Demon Burial Mountain Range. Here there was a flat ground. On the flat ground stood 100 meters high, semicircular ancient castle. From afar, it looked like a circular giant grave. The ancient castle was piled up with black stones, and there were no doors or windows on it. Every single rock was covered in dense formation markings that connected together to form a grand ceiling formation. On the ground around the ancient castle, every 100 meters, there was a circular array plate, used to release magical power, producing a suppressive force. On each circular array plate there was a body sitting there, motionless. The wind blew. The clothes on the body flapped and were torn apart. Under the clothes there were skeletons. Buzz! Suddenly, a burst of vibration sounded. The entire ancient castle was shaking. A wave of air, from the cracks of the ancient castle stones, shot straight to the sky. Gotcha! Every wave of air hit the sky would hit a crack. The space turbulence whistled in the cracks, making people's scalps numb. For a long time, the ancient castle gradually stopped shaking. Suddenly, swoosh! Several figures dashed over at high speed. These people were Huang Yuli and the others. They stood in front of the ancient castle, their eyes motionless. Then, Huang Yuli ran in front of a skeleton, tears in her eyes, unconsciously fell. Ancestor. Hulaina's eyes swept around and finally, her eyes fixed on a skeleton. Without any hesitation, she flew over and hugged it. Ancestor, you, Hulaina cried sadly. After a long time, the two recovered from their sadness. Mother, this is the ancestor? Huluadi asked. Hulaina nodded. You two don't just stand there, help me bury all the seniors. Okay. Everyone moved quickly, and in less than a moment, dozens of skeletons were buried on the spot. Standing in front of the grave, Huang Yuli led a few people to bow. Seniors, you died for the Demon Ancestor Mountain, we will never forget. The rest, leave it to us. Huang Yuli turned back, looked at the crowd and asked, Are you ready? Yes. The few people nodded together, their faces full of determination. They quickly transformed and sat cross-legged on different circular formation plates. He circulated the immortal energy in his body and placed it on his palm before pressing it on the formation plate. The formation plate on the ground lit up with a dazzling light. Swish! Rays of light flew up from the formation plate and surged into the ancient castle. These rays of light flowed along the ancient castle's formation patterns and spread throughout the entire ancient castle. A dazzling light shone from the castle, forming streams of sealing power that rushed into the ground. Howl! A roar came from underground. Bang! The ancient castle trembled rapidly, as if it was about to collapse. From afar, it looked as if boiling water was hitting the lid of a kettle, causing one to shudder with fear. Huang Yu's face turned incomparably solemn as she roared, "Seal them with all your might." The 6 of them frantically extracted their immortal energy and released it into the array disc. Buzz, wave after wave of sealing power poured into the ground. Every time it whistled, a miserable howl would come from the ground. "Stop! Stop it!" Suddenly, a human voice came from the ground. After Huang Yuli and the others heard it, not only did they not stop, but they even more desperately extracted their immortal energy and poured it into the ancient castle. "You guys hurry up and stop, or you will die. I am the ancient rift, you have the wrong target. Hurry up and stop, I can't suppress it anymore." Bursts of roars kept coming. The one who is sealed is you. You are an ancient vicious beast that endangers the world. Today you will leave your life here. Huang Yuli roared. "You really made a mistake. Although this seat is an ancient vicious beast, I have not harmed the world. If you don't stop, you will definitely leave your life here. Listen to this seat, leave quickly, or it will be too late." Such a voice, from time to time, entered the ears of several people, shocking their minds. However, the crowd did not stop and became even more crazy. A mournful howl came from the ground. The sound gradually stopped. Buzz, in the sky there was a shock. The space cracks and space turbulence gradually disappeared. Those birds that were imprisoned in the sky fell directly to the ground. All around, calm was restored. Huang Yuli looked at this scene. After a few long breaths, they stood up one after another. "It's too scary. The ancient rift can actually affect a person's mind." "Yes, it's true, I almost believed it. Fortunately, my will is strong, otherwise the consequences would be unimaginable." Several people walked together. Huang Yuli revealed a knowing smile. "Thank you everyone for working together. I did not expect this crisis to be resolved." "Aunt Huang, no need to be polite. Guarding the demon Ancestor mountain, that is our responsibility," Hu Luodi said. "Yes, Aunt Huang. We should thank the young master. It was his help that allowed us to grow to this point," Hu Luoxian said. "Xiao Xian is right." Huang Yuli nodded. "I thought we would die here like the martyrs. It seems that I thought too much. The young master has calculated everything. The situation here must be like the back of his hand. He pointed us here. He must have absolute confidence." Speaking of this, Hu Luoxian walked to Hu Laina. "Mother, I have completed this important matter, right?" "Yes." Hu Laina nodded. "Great, I can follow the young master in the future." Hu Luoxian's 2 fox ears kept trembling, a look of excitement. "That is also if the young master is willing to let you follow. With Sister Rumming by his side, what are you doing by his side?" Hu Luodi said. "Serving tea and pouring water. I am good at everything. Sister Rumming is already a demon emperor. I can't let Sister Rumming do everything, right?" Hu Luoxian said. I am talking about their world. What are you doing by the side?" Hu Luodi said. "You don't have to worry about this." Hu Luoxian raised his head high, a look of pride. "I think you are jealous." "Say it again." "I said you are jealous." "Ah, it hurts. Be gentle, my ears are going to be broken by you." Huang Yuli and Hu Laina saw this scene, smiled knowingly. After nodding to each other, Hu Laina said, "Okay, we should go back." "Okay." Everyone took a step forward, but before they could take a few steps, at this time, buzz, a vibration came from the ancient castle. This sudden sound startled the few of them. Looking back, everyone's pupils couldn't help but shrink, and their faces changed dramatically. All the hair on their bodies stood on end, and endless coldness enveloped their whole body. What the hell is this? Mother, what should we do? My heart seems to stop beating. Me too, this thing is not something we can deal with. Yuli, what should we do now? Nana, listen to my command later, everyone split up and run. If one can escape, it's one. Hurry up and tell the young master about this. Run, with a loud shout, the few of them used all kinds of methods and ran quickly. However, there was no time. Chapter 341. Woo woo! The blood wolf sniffed and looked ahead. Its red fur stood on end. He looked as if he had encountered a great terror. Big Wolf, what's going on? Sun Hao used telepathy. Master, the sealed land is in front of us. It's very scary there. It's better not to go. Blood Wolf's voice trembled. Even you are afraid? Sun Hao shook his head for a while, without the slightest fear on his face. He could summon a giant golden Buddha just by chanting some scriptures. No matter what kind of monster it was, he could deal with it with a single palm. Don't be afraid, open the way in front. If it doesn't work, I will help you again, Sun Hao said. Upon hearing this, Blood Wolf nodded. Woo! It let out a low roar excitedly and quickly ran forward. Sun Hao pulled Huang Rumming and followed closely. Huang Rumming absent-mindedly took out the demon seal and looked at the dazzling red light on it. A sense of uneasiness surged in her heart. Why is this happening? Legend has it that this demon seal is the key to opening the ancestral demon realm. Could it be? Huang Rumming muttered to herself, worry written all over her face. Rumming, what's wrong? Sun Hao looked back at Huang Rumming and asked. Young master, I'm fine. I was wondering why this demon seal is getting brighter and brighter. Huang Rumming said. Let's not care about that thing first. Let's go find Aunt Huang first. Sun Hao said. Alright. After putting away the demon seal, the two of them quickly rushed forward. Not long after, the two of them stood in front of a circular castle. Woo! The blood wolf bared its fangs and growled at the castle from time to time. All the hair on his body stood on end, as if he was fighting against some kind of terrifying monster. Sun Hao looked up at the array patterns on the castle and frowned slightly. These formation patterns were too complicated. They could clearly be done with a single stroke, but they insisted on making them incomparably complicated. The effect was greatly reduced. Who drew these? It's too complicated, Sun Hao asked. Young master, this is the sky-splitting ancient seal, carved by countless predecessors of the demon Ancestor mountain. Huang Rumming said. What? The sky-splitting ancient land is right below us? In Sun Hao's eyes there was a trace of worry, compared with the giant Buddha I summoned, which is more powerful. He had to confirm his opponent's strength before making any further plans. Otherwise, if he went overboard, it would be a tragedy. Huang Rumming was stunned for a moment and didn't know how to answer. Young master, there's really no way to compare. I've never seen the ancient space-cracking temple, so I can't tell the strength of the giant Buddha you summoned. Hearing this, Sun Hao nodded secretly. In that case, Ru Meng, let's retreat and let the big wolf attack. Alright. Huang Rumming nodded and followed behind Sun Hao. Just as the two of them left, swish, a series of air-piercing sounds rang out. Looking back, Sun Hao's pupils shrank, and their faces changed drastically. They saw strands of black silk drilled out from the cracks in the stones of the castle and covered the entire castle. These black threads grew longer and longer, covering the entire sky. From afar, it looked like a woman's hair was dancing in the wind, causing one's scalp to go numb. It's this damned thing again. Rumming, let's retreat again. Alright. Huang Rumming took Sun Hao and quickly retreated, away from the castle. Howl, Blood Wolf looked at the black strands of hair with a serious expression. He opened his mouth and let out a long howl. Gotcha! The joints on its body kept cracking, and its entire body was rapidly expanding. In the blink of an eye, it became a giant wolf with a height of 3,000 meters. The two horns on the top of its head were shaped like dragon horns, and there was a kind of momentum to tear the sky. The Tao seal between its eyebrows lit up with red and gold light. These two kinds of light spread out like clouds, and in an instant, the whole body was enveloped. Above the castle. Swish, the black silk grew rapidly and madly, making bursts of air-piercing sounds, and rushed straight to the blood wolf. Wherever it went, the air trembled, and the airwaves kept shaking. Howl! The blood wolf roared, opened its mouth, and swallowed hard. The sky and the earth changed color, and the sunlight was like a waterfall, turning into golden threads that fell straight down and quickly poured into the blood wolf's mouth. The golden light on the blood wolf's body was getting stronger and stronger. It looked like a wolverine, indestructible. 2 golden lights burst out of the blood wolf's eyes and swept directly on the black silk. The black silk burned into bursts of white smoke. Everything that was swept by the golden light was burned into flying ashes. Swish! The black silk quickly retracted, quickly avoiding the golden light shot from the blood wolf's eyes. The black silk was endless, and while avoiding the golden light, it quickly rushed toward the blood wolf. In the blood wolf's mouth, a strand of golden electric light quickly condensed. After a while, it formed a huge golden lightning ball. The powerful sound of electric current continued to explode. Swish! It opened its big mouth and spat hard. The lightning ball fell quickly. In an instant, it exploded in midair. Boom! The world roared. Endless golden light sprinkled all over the world, enveloping all the black silk. From the ground there was a high-frequency strange cry, which made people's ears uncomfortable. Swish! All the black silk was burned into powder and disappeared cleanly. A divine beast cub, not bad, not bad. This seat's luck is simply heaven-defying. It's just right, after swallowing you, this seat can leave here. Voices could be heard coming from underground. Immediately afterward, Kacha, a sound rang out. A crack spread rapidly from the castle to all directions. Boom! The earth shook. The ancient castle suddenly exploded. It formed a shock wave that swept in all directions. The blood wolf's head was hit, and its huge body flew out uncontrollably, hit the ground, and exploded a mountain range. Boom! Boom! The loud noise continued, with the castle as the center, row after row of explosions outward. The entire ground cracked layer by layer, and the rubble was endless, shooting all around at the same time. After falling to the ground, it exploded into a cloud of dust again. It seemed to be endless and boundless. Such a scene was like the end of the world, making people scalp numb. Thousands of meters of dust enveloped the world, wrapping the entire mountain range. Sun Hao looked at this scene and couldn't help but wipe a cold sweat. A sense of uneasiness surged all over his body. His hand holding the scripture was also trembling slightly. This power is more terrifying than an atomic bomb, right? If it weren't for Ru Meng blocking in front of me, I'm afraid those shock waves just hit me, and I would definitely be smashed to pieces. There was no time to chant scriptures. In the future, it's better to keep a low profile and wait until I embark on the road of cultivation. Sun Hao murmured, thinking secretly. His eyes were fixed on the dust, motionless. Suddenly, Sun Hao's scalp exploded, and his pupils contracted. Looking at the scene in front of him, he couldn't help but widen his eyes. Fear spread from the soles of his feet to the whole body. He saw, among the dust, black tentacles drilled out quickly. As time passed, the tentacles stretched longer and gathered more and more. From a distance, it was like an octopus tentacle, so many that people couldn't count. The tentacles danced wildly, shaking the surrounding space constantly. Buzz! The tentacles continued to rise. When the dust cleared, the monster showed its true body. The monster in front of him was shaped like a sea urchin, at least 10,000 meters in diameter, like a small planet covering the sky. Densely packed tentacles were all over his body. Seeing this scene, Huang Ruming's heart trembled, her pupils contracted, and her face changed dramatically. This is the ancient vicious beast unexpected disaster. Huang Ruming let out an exclamation. Hearing this, Sun Hao's face changed. Another ancient vicious beast? Shouldn't it be the ancient crack space? Young master, it seems that the situation has changed. Not good. Suddenly, Huang Ruming's scalp exploded, looking at the scene in front of her, and her anger soared. Mother! Huang Ruming clenched her fists, and her joints exploded. That kind of anger rushed quickly on her body, as if it could burn the world. Xiao, without waiting for Sun Hao to react, Huang Ruming rushed out like a bolt of lightning. This, Sun Hao stood in place, and his face changed. Without the protection of Huang Ruming, what should I do? Chapter 342. Whoosh! The tentacles on the body of the calamity quickly waved and grew longer. In an instant, it wrapped the blood wolf and tied it up like a dumpling. Woo! The blood wolf struggled frantically and kept attacking. However, it had no effect. The golden light on the blood wolf was getting dimmer and dimmer. Wow! A sound rang out. In the middle of the calamity's body, a crack of several kilometers in length split open. It looked like a super big mouth. Inside the big mouth, chaos and darkness, like an abyss that could swallow everything. At a glance, it gave people a splitting headache. Whoosh! A burst of whistling sound rang out. Countless black silks flew out of the big mouth and quickly wrapped toward the blood wolf. In an instant, the blood wolf was wrapped up, pulling it into the gap. At this time, whoosh! A sound of breaking through the air came quickly. A flame beam slashed on the black silks in an instant. Whoosh! The black silks were broken. The blood wolf rolled down and fell to the ground. Buzz! On the calamity's body, a layer of air waves shook up and spread around in a ball. Giant black eyes covered the whole body. Wow! The giant black eyes moved in unison, all staring at Huang Ruming, locking her. Squeak! A burst of strange cries rang out. That voice seemed to be laughing happily. Little doll, you actually have the divine phoenix bloodline. Not bad, not bad. Hey, you even have the divine body of life. Is this the rhythm of this seat going to get rich? Squeak! God really loves this seat too much, this kind of luck, extremely heaven-defying. The calamity's body was trembling violently, and the whole world was shaking with it. Huang Ruming struggled frantically, but her strength was exhausted, and she could not move. Those eyes had a terrifying power of imprisonment. Not to mention herself, even an immortal could not break free. Mother! Huang Ruming's eyes swept through the calamity's body, looking at Huang Yuli and others in it, and tears fell. In the calamity's body, Huang Yuli and others were inserted with black tubes. These tubes were madly devouring their power. As time passed, they were also getting weaker and weaker. Little doll, come on. Become this seat's food. The words fell. The calamity opened a big mouth, and countless black silks quickly entangled. On the other side, Sun Hao looked at this scene, and his body trembled. He took the scripture and quickly read it. Sarira, emptiness is not color. Sutra after sutra flowed out of his mouth at a rapid speed. It was as if a sky full of golden butterflies had enveloped the world. These scriptures rapidly piled up and intertwined, quickly forming a giant golden Buddha. However, how could he make it in time? The black silk wrapped around Huang Ruming's body and quickly dragged her into the giant mouth. He was about to pull it into his mouth. Suddenly, roar! The roar of a beast shook heaven and earth. All the black threads were torn apart layer by layer. Black blood filled the eye of calamity and slowly flowed down. The power of confinement disappeared. Huang Ruming quickly retreated, distancing herself from the unexpected disaster. In her eyes there was a deep sense of fear. Raising his head, his eyes narrowed and his face warped in shock. They saw, on the other side, a giant beast with a dragon's head and a tiger's body was roaring at the sky. The space around it collapsed from time to time, and strands of spatial turbulence tore through the heavens and the earth. Sky-cracking ancient? Huang Ruming's scalp tingled and cold sweat flowed. An ancient vicious beast was already impossible to deal with. The two ancient vicious beasts were even more powerless. Squeak! Unexpectedly, sky-cracking ancient, you are still alive. The sound of the unexpected disaster roared, shaking the air constantly. Roar! The sky-cracking ancient let out a roar, and the vertical eye between his eyebrows emitted golden light from time to time. You are not dead. How can this seat die? This seat is born to be your nemesis, die. After that, the sky-cracking ancient rushed toward the unexpected disaster. The sharp horn on his head directly broke the space. With endless spatial turbulence and debris, it hit the unexpected disaster. Boom! The earth shook and the sky shook. The loud noise kept ringing in people's ears. The golden light went straight to the sky. The earth trembled violently and sank down piece by piece. The terrifying power was earth-shattering and did not calm down for a long time. For a long time, the dust dissipated and the surroundings were restored. Only to see. The unexpected disaster's body was directly sunken. Countless tentacles and giant eyes were torn into pieces in the spatial turbulence. It looked like it was seriously injured. However, goo! A sound rang out from the unexpected disaster's body. Its disappeared tentacles and giant eyes quickly grew back. In less than a moment, it was restored to its original state. Swish! Thousands of tentacles, in an instant, entangled the sky-cracking ancient. No matter how it struggled, it had no effect. Damn it, damn it! How can you be this seat's opponent? The sky-cracking ancient roared, his voice getting weaker and weaker. Squeak! If it weren't for those little kids suppressing you once just now, this seat really wouldn't have been able to escape. You have been sealed by the Great Array for so long, it's not easy to survive. However, you can rest assured that they have been devoured by this seat. I helped you take revenge, then give your body to this seat. Don't worry, when this seat swallows you, I will continue your mission and bring disaster to this world. At this point, countless human-shaped mouths grew on the unexpected disaster's body. Each mouth issued a burst of strange laughter, making people's hair stand on end. Fart. This seat is an ancient blessing beast. Bringing disaster to this world, that's what you do. The sky-cracking ancient roared. It doesn't matter, it's all the same. Swish! The unexpected disaster pulled the sky-cracking ancient and quickly sent it into the body. Seeing that it was about to be devoured. At this time, evil creature! There was an explosion. The tentacles on the unexpected disaster's body stood up. Those giant eyes revealed a look of horror. Swish! The giant eyes swept to the source of the sound, and the round body began to tremble violently. Why is it you? The unexpected disaster's gaze penetrated the giant Buddha's body and stared at Sun Hao. That kind of panic and disbelief was written all over his face. My lord, I'm sorry, I'll leave immediately. The tentacles on the unexpected disaster's body immediately retracted, turning into a ball, and quickly rolled toward the distance. However, it was too late. He saw that the golden giant Buddha stood horizontally in the air, and its whole body exuded a wisp of golden light, sprinkling all over the world. Buzz! A big hand covering the sky pressed down from the sky. Under the big hand, the golden light poured down and enveloped the unexpected disaster's body. The unexpected disaster's body was immediately fixed in place. Where the golden light came, the unexpected disaster's body emitted wisps of black smoke and was rapidly collapsing. Squeak! The unexpected disaster let out a burst of strange screams, as if suffering extreme torture. Spare my life, spare my life! The unexpected disaster's mouth was full of begging for mercy. Above the giant eyes there was panic and despair. It kept struggling, as if to break free from the golden light. However, it was useless. It couldn't break free even with all the means. Buzz! The big hand covering the sky arrived quickly and pressed on the unexpected disaster's body in an instant. Boom! The tentacles and giant eyes on the unexpected disaster's body collapsed piece by piece, exploded into powder, and disappeared without a trace. The big hand covering the sky grasped it in its hand. Squeak! A shrill scream shook heaven and earth. Chapter 343. Wow! The giant golden Buddha stretched out a finger and gently swiped at the unforeseen disaster. Squeak! The mournful scream shook the world. The body of the unforeseen disaster broke apart. 6 figures slowly flew out and floated in front of the giant golden Buddha. These 6 people were Huang Yuli and others. At this moment they closed their eyes and their breathing was weak. Their bodies were covered with all kinds of black blood vessels, which made people's scalp numb. Xiao, a golden Buddha seal, flew out of the giant Buddha's eyebrows. One divided into 6 and quickly fell on the 6 people. Boom! All the blood vessels on the 6 people burst. The wounds on the body healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. A faint golden light swayed on the whole body, wrapping several people like a cocoon. At this moment, the corners of the 6 people's mouths raised a smile. That kind of comfortable expression was written on everyone's face. The bodies of the 6 people flew quickly and landed quietly in front of Huang Ruming. Mother! Huang Ruming looked at Huang Yuli and cried with joy. She looked back at Sun Hao, and her eyes were full of gratitude. Mother, you gave me the Demon Emperor's throne because you wanted to come here. You know you will die, right? Mother, you are so stupid. With the young master here, even if it is an unforeseen disaster, so what? How can you be an opponent? Fortunately, we arrived in time, otherwise, Huang Ruming murmured, tears in her eyes. Then, she rushed toward Sun Hao and hugged him tightly. Everything was said without words. Ruming, it's okay, don't be afraid. Sun Hao patted Huang Ruming gently and took a few long breaths. Everything just now scared him to death. Fortunately, the golden Buddha did not let him down, otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. Sun Hao looked up at the golden Buddha, and the light in his eyes flickered. The giant golden Buddha stretched out a heavenly pillar-like finger and pointed forward. Boom! The body of the unforeseen disaster burst apart directly. A core appeared in front of the giant golden Buddha. This core was only a kilometer in diameter, and it emitted a metallic luster. It looked indestructible. Buzz! The giant golden Buddha pinched its 2 fingers gently, and the core shook. There was no damage at all. Sarira, emptiness is color, color is emptiness, the giant golden Buddha's mouth was chanting, and a line of scriptures gushed out from his mouth, quickly enveloping the core. After a while, Kacha, the surface of the core was covered with cracks. As more and more scriptures appeared, more and more cracks appeared on it. Bang! There was an explosion. The inner shell burst open. At this moment, a series of phantoms flew out from the core and stood quietly in the sky. From afar, there were so many of them that it was impossible to count them all. Among these phantoms, there were humans, beasts, birds, they were not the same. Each of the phantoms' eyes shone with a strange light. Gratitude was written all over his face. They bowed deeply to the giant golden Buddha. Afterward, he stood up again and performed 3 kneels and 9 kowtows in the direction of Sun Hao. After a long time, they stood up, looking at Sun Hao's eyes, full of various emotions. They flew up into the sky, and their figures gradually disappeared into the void. Bang! The unforeseen calamity core shattered into powder and disappeared on the spot. At this point, the unexpected disaster was completely dead. The ancient rift looked at the giant golden Buddha and let out a low cry. The giant golden Buddha looked at the ancient rift, stretched out his big hand, and pressed down. Buzz! The sky trembled, and the golden light sprinkled straight down. When the ancient rift saw this scene, his face was full of horror. It lay on the ground, shivering. In his eyes there was despair and grievance. The next second, the ancient rift couldn't help but look startled, and his eyes kept showing light. He was surprised to find that these golden lights did not hurt him at all. On the contrary, they were quickly recovering from his injuries. After a while, the ancient rift was restored to its original state. In the middle of its eyebrows, a Buddha mark bloomed with dazzling golden light, and then gradually faded and disappeared. Go! A roar sounded in the ears of the ancient rift. Hearing this sound, the ancient rift nodded slightly. Afterward, his body shrank rapidly and turned into a half-meter-tall little tiger. He was stupid and very cute. Phew, he took a step and rushed toward Sun Hao. He kept circling around Sun Hao. Sun Hao looked at the ancient rift with a trace of fear in his eyes. In the scene just now, he clearly saw how strong this ancient rift was. Even if it turned into a little tiger, it still had a lingering fear. By the way, don't I have the supreme beast-taming technique? Let's try it. Thinking like this, Sun Hao used the beast-taming technique. Buzz, with a shock, there was a spiritual connection between Sun Hao and the ancient cracking space. This feeling was just like his relationship with the blood wolf. Hello, Master. I am the ancient vicious beast, the ancient rift. You can call me Little Goo. A sound rang in his ears. Hearing this sound, Sun Hao was slightly surprised. Then, the corner of his mouth rose. Little Goo, hello. Sun Hao touched the head of the ancient rift and found that it had no resistance. He enjoyed it very much. He summoned another one. This one was not a savage beast, but an ancient vicious beast. It was more powerful than the savage beast, and its strength was much stronger than the big wolf. The harvest was good. If this goes on, he would not be far from the invincible realm. Now, what he needed to do was to gain the power to protect himself. Thinking like this, Sun Hao nodded secretly. Suddenly, phew, a sound rang out. The golden giant Buddha stretched out his giant hand and waved gently. Phew, the 3,000-meter-high blood wolf body quickly flew up and stood quietly on the giant Buddha. Buzz, the giant Buddha's palm faced down and pressed gently. Phew, the golden light in the sky, like the Milky Way, quickly enveloped the blood wolf. The injuries on the blood wolf recovered at a visible speed. After a while, it recovered as before. Phew, the golden giant Buddha waved its right hand, and the blood wolf body slowly fell. After doing this, the golden giant Buddha's eyes swept around and confirmed that it was safe. Boom, there was an explosion. The golden giant Buddha exploded into scriptures and disappeared. Everything around was calm. Woo, the blood wolf stood up, and its body shrank rapidly. A moment later, it turned into a little red puppy and rushed toward Sun Hao. When it looked at the ancient rift, it kept growling in a low voice and bared its teeth. Woof, woof, woof. It aimed at the rift valley and barked wildly. Roar, the sky rift roared, and the tiger's power was overwhelming. Suddenly, the blood wolf lowered its head and crawled on the ground, shivering. Okay, Big Wolf, Little Goo, you have to get along in the future, Sun Hao said. After saying this, the blood wolf stood up and kept circling around Sun Hao, its tail sweeping loudly. At any time, it ran to the front of the ancient rift, shaking its head and wagging its tail. The ancient rift raised its head proudly, looking like a boss. P.S. Group 9477828868, looking forward to your joining. Chapter 344. Meng does that mean we were wrong to suppress the sky-splitting ancient land? Huang Yuli's face revealed a look of shame. Not bad. Huang Rumeng nodded. The space-splitting ancient god is suppressing the unforeseen calamity, and by suppressing the space-splitting ancient god, we are helping the unforeseen calamity. If it wasn't for young Master's arrival, I'm afraid that today you, speaking up to here, Huang Rumeng's expression dimmed. Sigh, who would have thought that we were all wrong? However, there is still something I don't understand. Why did the space-ripping ancient god create the spatial turbulence? At this point, Huang Yuli looked at the sky-ripping ancient lying in front of Sun Hao in the distance and asked, just as he finished speaking, "That wasn't caused by me. It was caused by an unexpected calamity. When I fought it, it devoured a lot of my power and released it into the sky to create chaos to confuse you." Two roars resounded in their ears. Hearing this, Huang Yuli's expression changed slightly. Senior, in that case, the incident at Beiluo City was also caused by the unexpected calamity? Huang Rumeng asked. Don't call me senior. I'm only 1,000,000 years old. I'm still very young. You can call me Little Gu, just like how Master calls me. You are right, Beiluo City was also created by the unexpected calamity, Sky-Splitting Ancient said. Hearing this, Huang Rumeng nodded slightly, as if she was suddenly enlightened. I see. All of this made sense. So that's how it is. Senior, I'm really sorry. Huang Yuli said apologetically. No need. I didn't expect so many souls of ancient experts to be sealed in unforeseen calamity's body. The space-splitting ancient god muttered. The soul of an ancient expert? The two of them were puzzled. Those experts were famous throughout the three realms during the ancient era. I didn't expect that their souls were actually sealed in the body of calamity. Ancient Sky-Splitting Ancient said. Senior, could it be that it wasn't devoured by the Sky-Splitting Ancient Beast? Huang Yuli asked. Devour? It's just the void-ripping ancient beast, it doesn't have that ability. From the looks of it, the person who possesses such means is definitely not simple. This world is going to change again, the sky-cracking ancient god murmured, his voice filled with worry. Hearing this, Huang Yuli frowned slightly. A look of reminiscence appeared in his eyes, as if he had returned to 10,000 years ago. Yuli, I'm leaving. Our child has already been sealed by me. She will only be born in 10,000 years. I'll have to trouble you during this period. Remember, after the child is born, you must find someone to marry. We can't pay too much attention to our children. This way, our children will have less karma with us. The world is about to change, distort the universe, and we'll have to rely on her. Yuli, I'm sorry. I'm not here anymore. You have to live on. You must be strong. Every sentence was like a heavy hammer that fiercely struck Huang Yuli's chest. Tears rolled down her cheeks unconsciously. Mother, what's wrong? Huang Rumeng's expression changed slightly as she gently held Huang Yuli's hands. Menger, I'm fine. Mother was just thinking about something. It's all in the past now. Huang Yuli wiped away her tears and revealed a smile. Let's go, young master has waited for a long time. Huang Yuli said. Mother, don't worry. Huang Rumeng pulled Huang Yuli and said. Is there anything else? Of course. Huang Rumeng nodded. Mother, since the crisis of the demon Ancestor mountain has been resolved, then you continue to be the demon emperor. After speaking, Huang Rumeng waved her right hand and prepared to take out the demon seal. In the next second, she couldn't help but look stunned, and her face was full of disbelief. Gone? Hey, the demon seal is gone! What's going on? Huang Rumeng searched all over the soul space and didn't find any trace of the demon seal. When Huang Yuli heard this, a touch of panic flashed across her face. Soon, she returned to her normal look. If you don't see it, then it's gone. It's the same with or without the demon seal. Mother promises you, I will continue to be the demon emperor, okay? Huang Yuli said. Mother, you're so good to me. Huang Rumeng jumped up happily and threw herself into Huang Yuli's arms. After hugging each other, Huang Rumeng quickly rushed toward Sun Hao. Huang Yuli looked at Huang Rumeng's back with a dignified face. Ai. Then, she sighed heavily. Menger, Mother hopes that you will be happy for a lifetime. Leave the rest to Mother. Huang Yuli turned around and looked at the huge pit not far away. Then, she retracted her gaze and followed Hulaina and the others, walking toward Sun Hao together. Young master! Huang Rumeng ran over quickly, with a bright smile on her face, and threw herself into Sun Hao's arms. Rumeng, what are you so happy about? Sun Hao asked. Young master, I don't have to be the demon emperor. I can travel the world with you and go wherever I want, Huang Rumeng said. Hearing this, Sun Hao nodded secretly. Okay, then let's travel the world. Sun Hao stroked Huang Rumeng's waterfall-like blonde hair, feeling the intoxicating fragrance, narrowing his eyes, a look of enjoyment with his eyes closed. When everyone gathered around, the two separated. "Thank you, young master." The 6 people bowed and saluted together. "You're welcome," Sun Hao said. "Young master, our demon ancestor mountain owes you too much," Huang Yuli said. "And Huang, don't say that. What do you mean by owing? Since Ruming doesn't want to be the demon emperor, then we will leave first. This little thing, please accept it." After speaking, Sun Hao waved his right hand, took out all the fruit wine, and sent it in front of Huang Yuli. Looking at these immortal brews, Huang Yuli's face changed drastically, and she waved her hand again and again. "It's public, this, how can this be? Aunt Huang, this little thing is nothing, we can brew it at any time. It may be of some use to you." After speaking, Sun Hao summoned the immortal boat. Huang Ruming took Sun Hao and quickly rose into the air. Behind the two, Ancient Ripping Sky and Blood Wolf followed closely. Buzz, with a flash of light, the immortal boat shook up layers of ripples and disappeared. Hu Luoxian looked at the sky and murmured for a long time without spitting out a word. He looked sad and lowered his head. "Actually, I am not qualified to follow the young master. It's okay, it's good to work harder." Hu Luodi patted him on the shoulder. "Help Aunt Huang take care of the demon ancestor mountain, and you will be able to see the young master often in the future." "And I will." Hu Luoxian nodded heavily. Huang Yuli looked at the clear sky. "When the young master comes, the crisis of the demon ancestor mountain will be resolved. Let's go, let's take the immortal boat back. And now we can start the space jump," Huang Yuli said. "Okay." Summoning the immortal boat, they walked inside in turn. Buzz, the world trembled, and the immortal boat disappeared in place. After everyone left, a figure slowly condensed and took shape. This person was Yingyu. She looked at the sky with an extremely solemn expression on her face. "Master, this old man left without saying goodbye, please forgive me. There are some things that must be done, and I can't accompany you in the future. You have to take care." Yingyu looked in the direction of the great demon mountain and bowed deeply. After a long time, he straightened up. Whoosh, Yingyu turned into a stream of light and left quickly. Not long after Yingyu left, Buzz, in the deep pit on the ground, a ray of red light lit up. It was the demon seal that emitted the red light.